We be live. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Hi, we're back with Susie. I miss Susie.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
I
Guys,
wasn't gone. I've been here on schedule. Okay.
yes, but it's been a week. Guys, who misses Susie? I miss Susie.
Oh,
Let Susie know how much when I'm going live without Susie, how much you miss her and how much you wish that she was part of more streams. Let her know so that she knows. Okay, a lot of people might think that it's already assumed, but no, you actually have to let her know how much she means to this channel. By the way, talking about how much you mean to this channel, the news that you selected, and thank you to Susie and D. I see D is in the chat.
yes.
The
D is
stories that you
also
guys
very
picked.
highly appreciated. I want to give a shout out to D and how much I personally appreciate her.
Yes, you guys picked some really. Tell us, what are we covering today, Susie? These are some interesting
I'm
topics.
honestly most excited for this first news, and then I'm also really excited to talk about this assassination attempt that happened on an Iranian dissident in Germany. I'm very excited to talk about that today. But we're also going to be talking about the terrorist attack that happened in New Orleans. And then also this teenage terrorist in Britain doing some crazy shit in the prisons. Because we recently were talking about jihadi radicalism in UK prisons. And then D showed me this story, and I was like, "Well, that's related. We should cover that. That's in our wheelhouse." And then finally, we have some very, very good news about a persecuted ex-Muslim atheist who we've been following his story for years now, and we have some very, very good news as an update.
Okay.
And that we saved that for last. So we have a big, big, big celebration at the end.
Okay, fantastic. So this is the first one is Islam. The second one is Islam. The third one
it's all
is
Islam.
It's all Islam. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the third one. I read teen terrorist, and I didn't read the rest to know that it's Islam. Okay, so like, and also the fourth one is Islam because it's Iran. The last one is a good guys. We're ending the show later at the very end with the good news. So thank you for including
the
that.
best
Thank
news
you.
we've had in a long time, to be honest.
Yes, we don't get good news that much on this channel, so it's good that you guys included that. Thank you. Okay. Oh, hi from Belgium. Hey, hi. Let me actually read this. First of all, we got a new member, Megan. Thank you so much for being a member.
Thank you, Megan.
Megan, yes. And Weekar is saying we missed you, Susie. And also Bar using his or her 8-month membership saying shalom to you both. It feels weird without Susie. Okay, it's one thing to recognize Susie and appreciate her, but this seems like more of an attack on me beyond just celebrating Susie.
Nah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but you're right. I tried to convince her to do more streams, but she'd be a busy gal.
I got a job.
I got a job. Okay, guys, please keep liking the stream. Your likes really help us grow the channel, so thank you so much for that. All right, so should we get into the news? Should we clap? Oh yeah, and guys, remember we will read super chats. Please help us with super chats. The super chats help grow the channel, and we will read them between news items. Okay, fantastic. Clapping.
Oh, well, first, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone who supports the channel. We do need your support to keep our show and our community going. So if you love what we do here, if you find it interesting, if you've learned something, maybe you just think me and Armin are ridiculous and it amuses you, please support the channel. You can do so by becoming a member. Oops, down below. Or donating via PayPal are some of the best ways to support us, and all the information is in the description. Or you can even send us a check. I have a check right here that someone sent us that I need to cash, so that's also a great way.
Oh, okay.
All the information down below, and thank you to everyone that keeps our work going, because it's a lot more than me and Armin behind the scenes. So now I am ready. I'm ready to begin.
Ready?
I'm so excited to talk about this.
Okay. Clappable? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. First news.
First news, Iranian woman snatches cleric's turban in bold airport protest. I haven't even gotten the opportunity to talk to Armin about this behind the scenes because I've been traveling. So this is going to be like the first time we talk about this, and I've been itching. Okay. In a stunning act of defiance, an Iranian woman went viral after confronting a cleric who chastised her for not wearing a hijab at Tehran's Mehrabad airport, snatching off his turban and wrapping it around her head as a hijab in protest. I love this video so much. So then she shouted, "So you have honor now?" She mocked before shouting at the onlookers, "Oh, Iranian men, I shit on your honor." The confrontation, caught on video and widely shared, comes amid growing resistance to Iran's mandatory hijab laws, which the regime has struggled to enforce. While state media dismissed the incident as actions of a woman with psychological issues, Iranians on social media hailed it as a bold act of defiance, with one user writing, quote, "Men can never understand the immense pressure a woman faces that leads her to rebel." Though she was briefly detained, the woman's defiant gesture has cemented her place in Iran's ongoing fight for women's rights and freedom. Okay, so should we just roll a clip?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's watch it all the way through, like completely.
Okay.
And then if you want to go back and translate some of what she's saying, we'll do that second. Sound good?
Okay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Wow, this is pretty intense.
Yeah.
This blew up. This blew up on Iranian social media. Blew up, and I still, every time I see it, it still amazes me. That is intense. This part.
Yeah, no. So you're gonna give us the analysis about what they're saying on Persian social media, like after. Let's do a blow by blow replay.
Okay, sounds good.
Where's
with
the
audio?
audio?
No, yeah, with audio.
There we go.
Look, she's look at this. She's walking so defiantly. Look, with so assertively. Look at, she's walking like, yeah, as if she's about to attack. Look at her. The walk. Okay, so I know I'm maybe overanalyzing this, but to me as an Iranian, this walk, even for the very few seconds, to me is pretty so mind-blowing, right? Because I grew up in Iran in a society where when you saw a mullah, you would be afraid. You would walk away. You would try to respect so that you don't get in trouble. The fact that instead of walking away or being afraid, you're walking like this aggressively towards the mullah as a way to challenge him. This is not the Iran I recognize. The Iran I recognized 20 years ago when I left Iran. This is not the same Iran at all. So now look at it. Now she's in his face.
Dude.
Look at that mullah. She's in his face. Okay, so my understanding is that this mullah had said something to this woman about not wearing the hijab, right? That's my understanding. And now she takes off his hijab, his turban, and uses his turban as a hijab to see, like, okay, is this what you wanted? So watch this. Okay, well, this part is like the guy's like, how is this happening to me? What has this is okay? I'm gonna tell you what this mullah is thinking. Okay, I'm not sure if this is what he's thinking, but this is what he's thinking. Okay, he's thinking, what the hell is happening to this country? How is this? How is she daring to do this to me? Why is she? What happened to our position? What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're supposed to rule this country, and this random girl without a hijab is coming and removing my turban. Like, what the hell? Like, yeah, he's very He's like, how shocked was he? Very, very much. Oh, like, yeah. Don't worry. So now she's putting the turban on her head. He said, Shia Ali. Wow. So she said something about Khairat, and then she said Shia Ali, which means your Ali's Shia, Ali the first Imam of Shia Islam. Guys, so this is when people outside of Iran, the leftists, try to act like this is about freedom, it's about choosing, but it's not anti-Islam. Bullshit. Okay, she's actively mocking his religion. So this is not just about women's right to not wear or wear what they want. This is aggressively anti-Islamic. Shia Ali, she clearly is mocking his Islam, is mocking his religion. Yeah. And like, there you go. I tell you all. It's like, so he's saying, read them as I was, he's saying, oh, men of Iran, read them beqiratatun. I think qairat, you see, because she didn't say, guys, Iranians in the chat, because the audio is not very good. Is that what she's saying? Read them beqiratatun? Because he was talking, so you have qairat, Shia Ali, and then he says, I shed on all your qairat. So qairat is a hard thing to translate to English. It's an Islamic concept where men have to have, it's sometimes wrongfully is translated to men being protective over women, but it's actually controlling women. As if you want to whitewash what it means in English, it's being protective. Men in the Islamic Muslim men being protective over women. That's what they act like that. What that means. But it's basically controlling women, making sure other men are not looking at them, making sure that they're inside the house, making sure that they're completely covered, making sure that you hurt somebody if they, if they are, attracted to your sister, mother, or your daughter, or if your sister wants to go out partying, you as a brother or as a father or as a son, you become very aggressive and very annoyed and very, as they call it, protective, but we call it controlling. So this concept of gayrat, people are saying honor. Again, these are how people translate it into English, but it's not honor, it's not being protective, it's controlling woman's body, right? So a lot of
They
Iranian
changed
women,
it as
yeah,
jealous zeal.
jealous zeal. Yes, perfect. Perfect translation. Perfect translation. Yeah. So she's saying, all men of Iran, I shit on your gayrat. Right, which is very interesting because Muslims try to sell qairat as something that is good for women because it's protecting them, but this woman is saying, I shit on all your qairat. So the concept of qairat and namus are in Iran are concepts that are more and more are being, they used to be positive things even among non-religious secular minded people. They didn't understand that this comes from Islam. I mean, they understood it, but they thought that, well, it's a good thing even if it's Islamic, or they didn't think about it as an Islamic concept, right? So even among non-Islamic Iranians, just a few years ago, the concept of qairat and namus used to be seen as a positive thing. You know, you could see like even brothers who are not religious, they would try to virtue signal their manhood by being very aggressively trying to control their sister or their daughter or whatever woman in their life were, right? But now, in the past couple of years, these are being seen as Islamic, outdated, backward concepts, and you can see that this woman is just saying "I shit on your ghairat." Shows that these concepts that used to be seen positive even by most of Iranians, even non-religious ones, the things are shifting. People are correctly recognizing that these are absolutely backward, outdated concepts.
Toxicity.
Okay, let's continue. Oh, you send me a link? Okay.
Oh, I thought that we should show that compilation for context later.
Okay. And then she's like, how many mikhas? How many mikhas? Like, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted?
Faces on everyone around are like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. So Navid is her husband. Now she's calling her. I don't know what happened to her husband. Did they take her husband? But she's now calling out for her husband.
Yeah. So based on English translations that was being reported in media, she was like then yelling for her husband, being like, "Where's my husband? Where's my man? Like, what did you do with him?" ... And we don't have enough context from what was filmed to know like what that was referring to. But
so let me tell you what the new strategy by the Islamic Republic is with these people, with these kind of people who stand up, because there's a new trend. Okay, it used to be that when somebody did something like this, the regime will come, they will arrest them, they will give them heavy prison sentences, and so many times they would get tortured.
And then do a forced confession where they make it obvious that they tortured you on purpose so that everyone sees what happens to you, and then they see you doing the forced confession, and it's all, everything is said without being said.
Yes,
really barbaric.
So that was the previous strategy, but the regime, those strategies has backfired. Every time the regime did that to somebody, that person became a symbol, that person became a hero, and that person became a reason for more people to stand up against the regime. So when the regime tried to use fear by maybe like really torturing somebody or making them come and give a forced confession, people recognized that the forced confessions were lies, and emboldened more people to stand up against the regime. So it backfired. So the new strategy is to arrest them, declare them mentally ill, and then free them. Right? So why do you think that's the strategy that the regime is using?
Well, because it's a way to delegitimize them by using the stigma of a diagnosis against them, and to just chalk it up to the actions of someone who is not in full control of their faculties, then actually give it any legitimacy by cracking down on it. Like by cracking down on it and putting them through hell, it's actually legitimizing them and turning them into a public symbol, turning them into a public figure that actually grants them great legitimacy. And so this is an easier way to actually delegitimize them.
But the thing is that doesn't get that the regime knows that the anti-regime Iranians, which is most Iranians, would not believe that narrative. So that narrative is not for the anti-regime Iranians. That narrative is for the pro-regime Iranians to justify releasing her, right? So they are two crowds that the Islamic Republic is in between, and Islam basically is stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Every time somebody does something like this, they look at the anti-regime people and they think the Islamic Republic thinks, well, how could I make less of these people do such things? Should I scare them? Okay, they try to scare them. It didn't work. well, if I release them, maybe these people would be like I could actually advertise, look, we didn't do anything to these people, so please calm down, I'm not as bad, right? If the regime is like, look guys, I'm not as bad, please don't topple me, I'm releasing these people. Okay, so that's the but if the regime does that, because you might think as an outsider, well, if the regime is so worried about the people toppling it, why not just chill the fuck out and let these people, like, just free them and don't oppress them, don't torture them. Okay, but the problem is that for the regime is that if the regime did that, then the pro-regime people, which the regime cares more about, which is a minority, but it's an important minority, it's the last base that the regime has, they would be like, what the fuck? This woman just came out with a hijab. This is in Mehrabad airport. This was at Mehrabad airport in Tehran. She's walking without a hijab in the airport. She's attacking a holy man. Okay, right? And you released her? How is this? Wallahi, this is not an Islamic land. Wallahi, you guys are Zionists. Wallahi, this country has been taken over by Israel. The Zionists have taken over. I do not recognize this country as Islamic anymore. What if this is not why we bled for? This is not
this is not what we give martyrs for.
This is not what we give martyrs for. This is not why we did an Islamic revolution. It was an Islamic revolution. We removed the Shah to bring an Islamic government. What the hell?
Why the fuck did we fight Saddam?
Yes. Why are the officials asleep? Why are the officials not enforcing Islamic law? They must be Zionists? And I'm not joking. That's the explanation that these religious people have, that the Zionists have found a way to infiltrate the Iranian government, and they think most of, if not many of Iranian officials who are releasing this woman are basically Zionist spies, right? Including the current president. That's actually the official narrative by a lot of the pro-regime people.
It kind of makes sense.
Right. So the reason why the regime says, okay, this woman just be crazy, we cannot arrest her because she's mentally ill, is to come up with a justification to the pro-regime religious hardliners for why they released her. They know most of the nation doesn't believe what they say, but they also know how stupid half of their followers are. They're like, okay, the anti-regime people, we have lost them forever, but we have to say this woman is mentally ill so that maybe we know how crazy our supporters are. This will work with some of them, and they're right.
It's hilarious because it's so true.
Yeah. I have a video. I wish I had that ready. I will show it in another stream where there's a mullah coming here. An Ardashi, a religious hardliner, coming out complaining. You know, Ahu Daryai, who stripped naked and they arrested her. They also released her saying that she's mentally ill. Okay. And there was this religious person. I think it was a mullah. It was a religious guy. Oh yeah, it was a religious guy. It was a mullah. It was an ahund. Okay. He's saying that we went and dug this up. She was first of her class. They're lying to us. The mullah was saying the regime is lying to us. She's not mentally ill. She was top of her class.
She's valedictorian.
So she was so angry.
You're telling me this woman doesn't have her shit together?
The mullah was like, we did our research. She's not crazy. She was top of her class. Arrest her. Why are you bring her? Oh God.
Funny.
I will find that video. I will show it to you guys on another stream. Okay, so make sure you subscribe.
I will never get over how hilarious it is when the RGCs and the religious hardliners are like realizing how much the regime just lies to their face to keep them satisfied. It's hysterical.
They
It's
ha-
so embarrassing.
they have it. The religious hardliners who are pro-regime, they have a new term for that. They say "مگه ما اسکل نظامیم," which means, do you think we're regime's idiots? That's what they. It's actually a
Yes.
funny term that they use. Yeah, they're like, the regime is a lot of these are pro-regime hardliners that are saying, they're saying that the regime thinks of us as useful idiots, and we're being treated as useful idiots. And some of them have realized that, which is really, something. This is, and then
There's a
yeah,
vibe
but there are
shift. There is a vibe
there's a
shift happening.
yes, yes, yes. There's also a lot of pro-regime people are coming to these people and saying, "Shh." They're like, guys, we have to submit to this, or else we will turn on each other and everything will fall apart. They are
But they're
secretly,
also kind of right. Here's
yes,
the
they're
thing.
secret.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
They're not wrong.
yes, yeah. There are some of them who are saying we have to be the idiots of the regime, or else this whole thing will fall apart. They're going to the other pro-regime people who are calling out the regime for lying out to them. They're saying, what is the alternative? Do you understand that if you stand up against the regime and you call them out for not enforcing the hijab, for being
Mhm.
weak against Israel, if this regime falls, we will not even get this. You think the alternative to the Islamic Republic is going to be a more, if this falls, you're going to get a more Islamic regime than this? You will never get that. This is the best that we could get so far. They're saying, let's just slowly make this regime more Islamic, because if we lose this whole nation will become fully secular, and this will be our last chance. So, oh yeah. So,
Man. Man.
yeah.
But Armin, I want to hear what was the reaction on social media from Barandazi people to this incident.
Oh, there were people are welcoming. I'm happy that more and more Barandas people are becoming united on supporting stuff like this, right?
Mhm.
Because it used to be like, when Ahu Daryai took off most of her clothes, right? What happened was, I was afraid that, because some Iranian people, Barandas people will come like, yes, support her, but some Iranian people will say like, no, that's too much. Why is she showing so much skin? Yes, we should be anti-regime, but she's taking it too far. And I saw a little bit of that, but not as much as before. Most Barandas people were like, we're supporting her fully. Most
Mhm.
Barandas people, okay. Um, there was unfortunately some people who were saying, yeah, actually, I have to be honest. Some Barandas people were saying that she's a regime plant, that the regime. Okay, so the reason, some Barandas people, unfortunately, have this conspiracy theory that women like this, Ahu Daryai and this woman, for example, are regime plants because the regime makes them do this and then releases them to try to convince the Iranian people and the international community, look, we're not as bad. A woman who took off her hijab and attacked a mullah, or a woman like Ahu Daryoi who took off her entire clothes, um, we released them. So you are gonna act like we're this dictatorial, evil regime that is so brutal. But even a woman who goes that far are just getting released with a slap on the wrist with no major punishments, right? So some Barandos people think that these women are planted by the regime itself, just so that regime could send that message as a way to avoid being toppled. However,
Mhm.
the correct analysis is not that the regime wants this, because if people see that they're not getting arrested, that they're not being remaining arrested for a long time, more people are going to do this. This is not going to work out in the favor of the regime. The actual correct analysis of why these people are being released is because the regime is afraid of the people. The regime is less equipped to deal with the people. It's the opposition, the number of people who are defying the regime are just too many. and the regime is afraid of the backlash. That is the actual reason why these women are being released, not this conspiracy theory that some people are coming up with.
One thing that I find very counterproductive about conspiracies and accusations of controlled opposition that do happen a lot within Iranian opposition circles is that because someone was released from jail, or because they maybe weren't tortured as bad as another person, or maybe because they weren't executed, or maybe because they were released from jail, or maybe because they've never been to jail, or maybe because their family has never been persecuted on their behalf, all of these reasons and more, then that means that they're actually controlled opposition for the regime. And this is very counterproductive, because then you are actually doing the work of delegitimizing activists for the regime, and that plays into their hands. So like the Islamic Republic does a lot of psychological operations, and they're not nearly in foreign interference. They do a lot of them. Personally, I do not think they, as in terms of foreign interference, they are as sophisticated as the Russians, for example. That being said, I think that the psychological operations that the Islamic Republic does on Iranians, domestic and in the diaspora, is more sophisticated. And excuse me, this is one of those examples where they play into this narrative by not going after someone, because if they don't go after someone, then they are delegitimized in the eyes of the public, saying, oh, you must be with them because they haven't gone after you, or they didn't go after you as hard, or they released you early, so on and so forth. Like Armin has been accused himself of being part of the regime, he's been accused of being controlled opposition because they haven't gone after him. You know what I mean? So I find that narrative very, very counterproductive, because you're playing exactly into the kind of psyops that they like to do on the diaspora and the opposition. Did that make sense? I know it probably made sense to you, Armin, but
yeah, no, it made complete sense. But and to confirm what you're saying, I think the regime, what the regime might be doing is that to turn the opposition. So we as the people who are against the regime, we are called the barandos people. Okay, we benefit when the regime turns on itself. When we have some pro-regime people turning against other pro-regime people, I think this is the best chance that we have for the regime to topple, when they turn on each other, right? But it also works the other way. The anti-regime people, when they turn on each other, that benefits the regime. And I think one way the regime tries to turn the barandos people against each other is by treating some of them differently than the others, right? So the regime, for example, whoever is pro monarchy or pro Pahlavi, they treat them on average worse in prison than people who are not who are the opposition against the regime, but are not pro monarchy or pro Pahlavi. And that way, a lot of pro Pahlavi and monarchist people would think that maybe these other people are with the regime. Why are they getting such a great treatment in jail relative to how badly the pro Pahlavi people are being treated in jail? For example, this woman called her name is Fatima Sepehri, and she's being really treated badly in prison. She's one of the most bravest Iranian women against the regime, and because she has said favorable things about Reza Pahlavi, and in the monarchist, she is being treated more aggressively in prison. And this is I think a mind game that the regime is playing, so that the anti-regime people turn their finger, like they turn their accusations against each other. You're with the regime. You're with the regime. You know how we have so many people are saying like, oh, you're a Zionist, no, you're a Zionist, you're a Zionist.
Mhm.
We the anti-regime people, Iranians, some of them unfortunately have that as well. We just like, oh no, we have this. To be fair to the anti-regime people, we have had situations where we trusted somebody and it ended up being actually a pro-regime agent, and that's why now everybody is skeptical of everyone else and they're pointing fingers and people, and it's for their own security as well, because a lot of the opposition is still in Iran, and it's hard to trust people because they might actually end up being a pro-regime person, and if you tell them things, they will use all that evidence against you, and then you're effed for many years in prison or execution. So it's really hard to know who to trust, but it's difficult because some of them are conspiracy theories and some of them are actually correct based on evidence, and it's hard for a lot of people to tell the difference, and that makes the work of the opposition a lot more difficult.
Yeah. No,
So,
and this
yeah.
is exactly the psyops I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They are
But
way more
we're
successful
improving.
on that.
But we're improving. The anti-regime opposition is improving. We're getting more mature. We're getting slow. Like it's a new movement. Remember, up until Alban, and the bloody Alban, the
2019.
Iranian the Iranian opposition was a reformist operation. It wasn't a toppling operation, right? So this is like a new movement. So again, for against the regime to topple it, and we shouldn't be judged too harshly because I think we're learning very fast. Like we're improving. It's a new movement, so just give us some time.
No, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
even just comparing to how things were 2 years ago at the height of
Yeah.
the Massa revolution, it was very, very different than even then.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we talk about this assassination attempt. I think it ties in a bit.
Right. Oh, by the way, that assassination attempt that we're going to talk about, it was against somebody that was a monarchist,
Well,
pro-Pahlavi person.
exactly.
So
That's what I'm. Oh,
yes.
we'll get into it, guys. We'll get into
Yeah. Okay, are there any comments that Dee highlighted?
Yeah, so
Oh,
scroll
here.
down. So this person is saying, yeah, these poor women have no more fucks to give. I wish I could help them all. That
Well,
is
you can.
no, but I mean the idea of like people like I just don't care anymore. They're going after it. I feel like a lot of people feel that way.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people are, especially now. I mean, I will tell you why in future streams, but yeah. So here's another comment.
This person is saying if only real men would stand up, this would be over. Why are women the only one resisting, or so it seems to me?
Bullshit.
Okay, I'm gonna actually ooh, Susanna just got triggered.
Bullshit.
I actually look, this is gonna be an unpopular opinion. Oh, I might. Oh,
How did
I
this get
actually don't give a shit.
246 likes?
I actually don't give a shit personally that much that people are like, oh, the woman life freedom revolution is a woman led, the world's first and only women led revolution. Ratata. Like, I actually personally, I don't care that much because it's about something that's so much more than that. And when people reduce it to this, and I have personally seen, there was an incident that happened in my personal life that left me disgusted to my core, I tell you. Ooh, where people will openly shit on and sideline the contributions of men in this entire scenario, like just because this started because of a hijab situation. And it's so fucking disgusting because in 2022 and how that movement continued into 2023, the majority of people who sacrificed their lives for the sake of the nation, for the sake of the freedom of Iranian women, were men. The vast majority of the people that were killed, shot dead in the fucking street by the ground forces, by the IRGC, were men.
Yeah.
There were hundreds of, there were, how many children? How many children were murdered during this civil unrest, these anti-government protests? A lot of them. Most of the girls have become iconic for how they lost their lives. The vast majority of them were boys. The vast majority of them were young teenage boys who were murdered, shot dead in the street, or taken to prison, tortured and graped, where the forces were graping boys, where they'd then be released and do a self-deletion. The vast majority,
they did this for,
the majority of people who were
and for
killed
who?
and died,
For the freedom,
sacrificed their life for the whole fucking nation, were boys.
yeah.
So I'm tired of people acting like Iranian men don't contribute shit. It's so insanely disrespectful
And ungrateful.
So ungrateful.
Imagine somebody going. So many of these men were on the front line of this, taking these bullets, risking their bodies, risking their lives for the sake of every Iranian, including the woman, including the freedom of all these women, for them to be able to right to choose, to right to take control over their lives. And then you don't see all these men dying for Iranian men and women, and acting the fact that you don't see them is your problem. The fact that you don't see them, that's you. And how did this get 246 likes?
I mean,
you're insane.
This person probably has like no familiarity. But what makes me angry is people who I know do, where I know that they do. And I even see this on the local level of people organizing in my local community and how I'm involved. They'll literally make jokes, be like, oh, like when this is all said and done, we're only going to have women leaders. Oh, the world would be a better place if we only have women ruling for 100 years. In the presence of men in my local community that have done more to drive the interests of my local community forward than anyone else, and done it more successfully than anyone else, saying this shit in front of their face. It fills me with rage. It's so disrespectful and disgusting. And to be honest, I don't even think these fucking bitches like even know what they're saying.
Right.
It makes me so angry. And let me be clear, what I'm saying, because I know people are going to try to take it some way. I'm not trying to diminish the contributions of women. Obviously not.
Yeah, I mean, we have Majid Reza Rahnavard, which is one of my personal heroes. But we also have Nika. We also have Sarina. Okay, Nika and Sarina. Nika was a fucking badass hero. She fought until the very end. 3 against 1. A teenage girl alone in the back of a van, hands tied behind her back. 3 men attacking her, and she fought back until the very last second, until she died. Sarina, who died, she was my favorite, not only hero, she was my favorite philosopher, because videos of her YouTube after she died came out where she was talking about her philosophy. And there's one thing that she says in that video. It says our priority should be Rafah, Rafah, Rafah. So I don't know how you translate Rafah. Well-being, I think that would be the best translation. So basically, she was trying to focus everything on the well-being and the people. And I quote her often on the Persian channel. I always say, don't forget the name of Sarina, the words of Sarina, Rafa, Rafa, Rafa. Priority number 1, Rafa. Priority number 2, Rafa. Priority number 3, Rafa. And then, but yet, so Sarina and Nika, love them, celebrate them, remember them. But who could also forget Majid Rahnavat? Majid Rahnavat, the man who also fought to protect his community while it was being attacked by these Basiji radicals. And then when they arrested him, they broke his arm because he had the Shiro Khorshid, the lion sun tattooed on his arm. And then when they interviewed him before they executed him, before they hanged him, he said, they said, do you have any last words to share to people? He said, yes, after I die, don't read the Quran at my funeral. Play music, celebrate life, be happy. Don't play happy music. Don't play the Quran. That was his last message before they executed him. That was while he was surrounded by soldiers and people that tortured him, but he still said something that was extremely brave. That's our we remember him. He's a man. Major Zarnahavar is our hero.
We still have political prisoners that are being executed for this.
Yes.
Most of them are men.
Yeah, most of the guys, it's true that most of the victims, most of the victims are men. Let me see how do I translate Rafah into English? Rafah.
I don't know. I understand why people want to focus on the female aspect of it, obviously, because that's a very visible, it's one of the most visible aspects of this. Women have faced an incredible amount of harassment and sexual assault because of this. It is gender apartheid, straight up. But I'm gonna go toe to toe, and I'm gonna take issue with anyone that acts like Iranian men are just backwards and holding people back. It's really insulting.
2 points, actually. A lot of people forget the second part of the chant, okay, of this revolution. So it's Zan Zindagi Azadi, woman, life, freedom, but there's a second part to it. Mad Mihan Abadi, which means men, nation, prosperity. So it's woman, life, freedom, man, nation, prosperity. So that's the full chant. And also the point of focusing on women, when we say woman, life, freedom, is not because the revolution is for women. It's because when the regime uses women as a symbol, puts hijab on women by force as a way to use them to show that it's present, that it's Islamic, that it's capable of controlling the population. When women are being limited in such a way, then when you speak for women and try to give them equal rights and try to liberate them, is because you're doing that for all of society. So in a society where women are being oppressed, when you liberate the most oppressed, you're liberating everybody. This is also why we focus on anti-Jewish hatred. It's not because Jews are special or they're more important than other people in the world, but when Jews and Morteds, for example, when you go for the most hated people, you can see a society is advanced and has progressed when Jews are not being threatened there, when Jews are not living in fear there, because they're at the bottom, they're the most oppressed, the most wrong. When you manage to lift them up, when you manage to make them fight against hatred against the Jews, then other forms of hatred and discriminations also get removed, because they are the worst. They are at the bottom. They are the most hated. So that's why we focus on women. It's not because women matter more, but a society that treats women equal to men is a society that is best for everyone. A society where Jews anti-Semitism doesn't exist in it or is minimum. It's a society where other forms of bigotry also are less less notice or less existence, because it's just a better society. So the focus on women and Jews or Murtads or LGBT, these are the people that we see that are most discriminated against. And when we focus on them, it's not because they're special, it's because it's just best for society for them not to be discriminated against.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that
So
make
I'm
sense?
laughing because that whole talking point made me remember this incident that happened in my personal life, and I was rereading an email I sent to one of my friends about it. I was going off. So let's go to the super chats, my friend.
Super chats. Yes.
Gajan is asking, how do you access Iranian social media? Well, I guess the better question is, how do Iranians access social media? Right? Because Iranian social media is like Twitter and Instagram, also Telegram,
Telegram, yeah.
But so those are things that we all have access to. The question is, how do they get access to it? I don't actually, through systems of VPNs, right? I actually don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, they just use VPN. Yeah, they just use VPNs. Yeah, Iranian social media is just basically you just follow Iranians on. I mean, I follow the ones that I follow. They're Persian speaking, so and the translations doesn't really usually do them justice.
Yeah.
So the reason why, so I follow Iranians on Twitter, Instagram, mostly Telegram. Telegram is the best place. They're also very active on WhatsApp. But yes, all of these are blocked by the government in Iran. And the reason why they're blocked is not why many people might think is the actual reason. Because everybody uses VPN in Iran. Everybody is using VPN in Iran. And the fact that these are blocked, the internet, like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of them are blocked. And the government knows that blocking them is not removing people's access to them, because they just get around it through the VPN. But Susie, why do you think that, given that the regime knows that everybody is using VPNs, then why is the regime blocking all of these social media apps? Anybody knows?
Because they don't want everyone to see how popular the discontent is.
No, everybody is using VPNs, including the pro-regime people.
Well, I know that they have their own VPN that's not actually a VPN. They like track you on it, try to get people to use that.
You're gonna hate them. You're gonna hate this answer. You're gonna hate them even more than before when I tell you.
Oh, God.
Because they sell VPNs. The regime sells VPNs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Navid got it. So they're making money from this. Yes, Alfred. Oh, the Iranian people in the chat.
But it's not a real VPN, right? Because they can track you on it.
Yeah, but they're cheaper than. They can track you on it, but a lot of Iranians just need access to Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and the Iranian-made VPNs are cheaper than NordVPN and ExpressVPN. So a lot of people buy them.
Economy.
Yes, so a lot of people buy them, and the regime makes a lot of money on it. So the regime blocks the internet, blocks the popular social media apps, just so that it could sell VPN to its own people.
Look, okay, I'm not surprised at all, because the economy is bleak. Okay, it's bleak.
But isn't that evil? That's evil. Okay.
Les is just smilingly trying. Thank you for the super chat, my friend, saying, love to all my friends here. Look beautiful, Susanna. Oh, thank you. And saying, Armin, did you release the video of the young woman that asked us to remember her and share her words? I want to share it on my Blue Sky account.
Not yet. I will. I promise. I will try to do that soon. I'm gonna be MIA in 2 or 3 days. I probably will do it after I come back. Okay, but I will try to get that done as soon as possible. Thank you for reminding me. I will do it.
It is coming. Okay.
It's
Oh, and
coming.
all Kenny's saying hi. I just wanted to give a special shout out and
Hi.
appreciation to Kenny, who is an amazing volunteer who helps me out a lot. So thank you, Kenny, who also not only is an amazing volunteer, but gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships.
Thank you.
So much for everything you do to support us, my friend. Dan Dave is saying Iranian women are gorgeous. They would win many beauty pageants if they could compete. No wonder Alexander organized mass weddings between Greeks and Persians. Wink.
Yeah, that's not going to be a very popular take by Iranians, to be honest. That last part.
Like,
but to be fair, okay, I know a lot of people wouldn't like my take on this because a lot of Iranians would be like, "Oh yeah, Armin, you should say that." But to be fair, every nation has its fair share of beautiful people. So,
oh, Ronnie Coleman. Armin is also very attractive. Don't get me wrong.
oh, okay. Well, then
Hey,
I picked
Ronnie.
that.
Right? Dan gave another super chat saying men die in wars, conflicts all the time. Men's life is considered disposable in most societies. Yes. Good men also fight for women. Men's life also matters. I agree.
Good. Yeah, fight for everyone.
Yeah.
Men and women.
No, the whole male disposability thing really does bother me. David the Goliath, thank you for the super chat, David, saying Islamic hatred of Jews should not be called anti-Semitism. It is religious hatred, not racial. European hatred for Jews is based on their ethnicity. That hasn't always been the case. That has not always. That's not been the case. Not always. Why do you think they were forcibly converted in Spain? Like,
right. So, David, you're right to say that Islam itself promotes hatred against the Jews on theological grounds, not on ethnic grounds. But that has among Muslims themselves, that has translated into hatred towards the Jews for ethnic reasons. Okay. The thing is that anti-Jewish hatred for ethnic reasons is so deep rooted and it's so ancient that it just takes all of these other things like religious reasons, or I don't know, white supremacy, Nazis, whatever. They are just different excuses for the same hatred. If you actually go see within the Muslim community where you see anti-Jewish hatred, it's the same gut disgust reaction to the people, to these people's very essence, regardless of their ideology is just an excuse that comes after, right? So I do not believe that for a second. I don't think that most Muslims believe that, oh yeah, I mean, we don't hate. Okay, I'm not going to say that on YouTube because YouTube might think that I'm saying that, but you know what I'm saying. I think that this goes much deeper. The hatred for Jews goes much deeper. The hatred exists, and the excuses are either religious or racial supremacy. These are just excuses that comes after.
Yeah. I was in a museum recently and saw this giant painting of when the Jews were kicked out of Spain. It's like, oh, yikes.
Oh, John. Wait, I was watching a Mullah just today while I was working out. The Mullah was saying that we don't even treat Jews like that. And then he apologized. Well, he was on YouTube, right? And I was like, no, that's not what I meant. Jews are great, whatever. But the fact that he was saying not even Jews should be treated like that. And then he apologized.
That's his standard.
Like, well, yeah, that's his standard. That's not how he thinks. Yeah.
He's like, I mean, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so John gave a super chat. Thank you for supporting the show, John. Saying, did y'all see that what they put up in the Iran embassy in Syria? They did the thing. Zan zandegi azadi. Now my Arabic is gonna suck. Mara haya huria. Secularists are legion. I think I maybe saw this. I'm not sure, but John, can you email this to me?
I did a stream on it. Members only. I did a members only stream on it where I covered this. So John, because you're a member, you would be able to see that. Guys, if you are a member, if you just got a membership gift, go watch my member only streams. These are some streams that we do for members only as a way to appreciate them. Just go to the membership section and watch that. I'm gonna do more members only streams. At some point, I'm gonna get to the point where I do at least once a week. I do one members only stream a week. Okay, so guys, become members because you get access to more streams and more videos from us. Look, the cat lady saying I feel appreciated. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make our members feel like they are appreciated because they are appreciated. They should be. Yeah, this is for you guys.
Oh, 100%. Dan gave a super chat saying Christianity, Islam both stole Jewish stories to advance their religions, but they hate Jews for rejecting their prophets. They can't digest that.
Okay, I know. Can I be nitpicky? Dan is keep giving us super chat.
Do it.
Okay, so they didn't. Okay, so I'm anti-Islam. Okay, but this is not stealing. I know people say that and they don't really mean it, but it's not. All religions, Christianity and Judaism also took their ideas from the religions that came before them. This is just part of evolution of memes. This is not stealing because none of these myths are copyrighted. These are not intellectual property. Also, stealing suggests that you took something and that person lost something, right? Like if I steal something from you, I now have it and you don't. So technically, these are not stealing. This is just how mythology evolves. All mythology evolves in the same way. It comes from the ideas that were before it. Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Roman mythology is based on Greek mythology, right? Or do we see that Romans stole from the Greek? No, they were inspired by the Greek. So yeah, I'm as anti-Islam. I'm more anti-Islam than most people in the world. I just don't think stealing. Islam has stolen a lot. This is not one of them.
Yeah.
This is just like copying. Yeah.
Okay, and then Dan gave another super chat. Thank you, Dan, saying, what happened to the Muslim majority in Spain where they all converted to Christianity? A good thing, I guess. Imagine Spanish jihadists. So look, I'm no expert in this history. This is something that evolved over literally centuries. So they were pushed back out of the Iberian Peninsula, and then at some point they were like all the way pushed back, and then it was fully under Spanish rule, but there were still Muslims there. Some of them were expelled and some of them were forcibly converted, and those are called moriscos. But look, I have a very elementary understanding, but it is a history that I'm interested in learning more about, so really go look it up yourself.
Okay, yeah. I want this person that you start next. I want to.
Oh no, we don't have to go into that. I was just starring that so we can chit chat about it behind the scenes because I thought this was hysterical.
Can I ban him because he's talking about freedom of speech? He doesn't understand that this is not freedom of speech. Doesn't mean that we don't get to moderate.
No, I don't care. I just highlighted it because I thought it was funny. The way that they were talking shit about me.
Idiots. I really want to ban this guy. Okay.
Oh, I think they left anyways. So shall we go to the next story?
Yes. Can we clap? No. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, next news.
Yeah, next news. Terror in New Orleans. ISIS-inspired attacker kills 15. New Orleans' New Year celebration turned into chaos when 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a former U.S. Army veteran, launched an ISIS-inspired terrorist attack on Bourbon Street, killing 15 and injuring 35. At 3:15 a.m., Jabbar drove a rented Ford F-150 Lightning truck onto the sidewalk, bypassing a police barricade meant to protect the, festivity goers. He plowed into the crowd, leaving bodies maimed in his path as terrified pedestrians fled into bars and restaurants for safety. After coming to a stop, he exited the truck and opened fire with a handgun, shooting 2 police before being fatally shot in a gunfight with law enforcement. The attack forced the postponement of the Sugar Bowl, a major local sporting event, as investigators uncovered an ISIS flag attached to his vehicle, along with pipe bombs hidden inside coolers in a rented Airbnb wired for remote detonation. Quote, "This was a despicable and heinous attack," said President Biden, visiting the site alongside First Lady Jill Biden, who laid a bouquet at a makeshift memorial. Authorities later confirmed Jabbar acted alone and had pledged allegiance to ISIS, posting disturbing videos before the massacre, describing his intent to kill, and visions that led him to jihad. So, oh my God, when I found out that this happened on New Year's Eve, I was just like done, mentally done. Like I don't know. I don't even know how much commentary I have on this. One, because I can't say it for YouTube, and two, because what can be said that hasn't been said before, to be honest. Like, I think what drives me insane as a citizen is that I have reached a point in my life that I do not wonder if this is going to happen. I do not wonder if an Islamist terrorist attack is going to happen. I wonder when it's going to happen and where it's going to happen. Because we all know that it's going to happen again. We all know that this is going to happen again, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again. And the politicians are going to keep saying the same shit, and they're going to keep saying how horrible it is, and they're going to keep saying how despicable it is. And then we live our lives until the next one happens again. And what is there to say, really? I mean, I'm seeing conflicting reports about whether he acted alone or not. I don't know how much the authorities are releasing publicly at this point, because not only was there like an IED inside the car, but there are IEDs in different public locations around Bourbon Street that had to have the bomb squad called in, which is terrifying. So the body count could have been higher. I'm not entirely sure what this dude's deal was. I've also seen conflicting reports. Some people were saying that he actually grew up Christian and then converted. And then other reports were saying that no, he actually was Muslim his whole life, but then only became radicalized lately. Apparently people that knew him were 100% blindsided by this. They didn't see it coming. They didn't see the radicalization coming. He's saying, yes, he was alone. There's footage of him placing the coolers. But I mean, in terms of the preparation and gathering the materials to do such a thing, I'm not 100% clear on that. And so maybe he was a convert, maybe he wasn't, I don't know. But what drove me like fucking crazy was that there was a statement made by like his half brother or his brother-in-law being like, oh no, this doesn't represent Islam and this doesn't represent the Muslims, the Muslim community, and ratata. Meanwhile, this dude literally released 5 videos on Facebook right before he did this attack, and I haven't seen these videos, so I'm going after what was reported. But apparently in one of the videos, he talks about how his original idea was to attack and kill some of his friends and family, which is scary because this guy has like children. I don't know how many children, but it seems like he has multiple children. So was he gonna like just go and attack and kill them? But in this video, apparently, reportedly, he said that he decided against doing that kind of attack against his friends and family because he didn't want the media. He didn't do that kind of attack because he did not want the media to distract from the war between believers and disbelievers. He didn't want to kill his friends and family because he did not want the media to lose the plot, to lose the thread of the plot that is the war on the disbelievers. That's specifically why he didn't go kill his friends and family, because he wanted the media to know that this is a war on the disbelievers.
Wow.
Let me make that clear.
Disgrace.
And then people are going to tell me that this does not represent Islam. When if you know anything about Islam, it is all about the war on the disbelievers. To the point that the world is split in 2 between Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb, which literally means the house of war. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, maybe there's a connection.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a little inspiration. I don't know. Call me stupid. What do you think, Armin?
No, and Susie, to your point, it's true that Islam wants peace, but their definition of peace is by removing completely the Dar al-Harb, right? So the understanding is that you get peace when all of the world submits to Islam. So when they say Islam is a religion of peace, based on their definition of peace, they are not doing taqiyya. They're like, yeah, we will bring peace through war by making the whole world submit to Islam. That's how we bring about peace.
Through submission.
That's the understanding through submission. Yes. So they're not doing taqiyya when they say Islam is a religion of peace, but their understanding of peace is by completely defeating the because the reason why they call non-Islamic countries Dar al-Harb, meaning that the house of war, is because they consider being non-Islamic as a declaration of war by default. So you are already at a state of war with the Islamic world by not being Islamic land.
No, and this is the part.
I pissed off somebody.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's
hell
great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mer. I love it when I piss off someone. Thank you so much.
No, and this is the thing that drives me crazy is when people, like, to be honest, I mean, we can talk about like history, we can talk about colonialism, we can talk about disenfranchisement and geopolitics and because in the Western liberal mindset, we want people to be rational actors, and we find it more digestible that people would want to kill us in mass and attack our societies to our core for some reasons that we find rational and logical and digestible. We fail to understand that the existence of our liberties themselves is a declaration of war to the Islamist. It frankly doesn't fucking matter about any colonialism, any war that happened in the 20th century, any intervention in the Middle East. Sure, those things maybe don't help, but at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Our freedom itself is provocation. Again, I want to say that one more time. Our freedoms themselves, without any interference or ever touching together, is itself the provocation. So, like, everyone else can go fuck off. I really don't care about your excuses, your justification, your rationalities. It's like literally like liberal lefty cope. It's liberal lefty cope because it makes things like more understandable for them. And this literally started happening. Like, people would roll out these excuses in this cope literally as soon as 9/11 happened. Go back and look at the media back then. Go look at the think pieces. Go look at the editorials and newspapers. We were already running cover and carrying water for terrorists through these excuses because that made it make sense in our civilizational brain. Like, oh, they must have a grievance against us. We must have done something bad that justified our own mass slaughter. There are probably plenty of things that didn't help. But at the end of the day, we fail to understand that the fundaments of the ideology that we are up against are bad and wrong and backwards and against our entire way of life and the systems of freedoms that we have tried to universalize to the entire world. It is the problem with the fundaments. The geopolitics and the history and the intervention is just window dressing. It's window dressing, frankly. So, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Liberty itself is the provocation.
You do such a good job at explaining this. You do, like, I always think that I've never seen anybody explain how ridiculous these excuses are better than you. That's why I'm almost waiting to see how seriously. Almost whenever something like this happens, I'm like speechless and I don't know how to. And also when I see people coming up with bizarre takes, sometimes I'm like, fuck. Let's just see what Susie has to say about this because I know she will capture this thing beautifully. Yeah, people are saying that.
So I'm just tired of it. When I see people like running with those excuses and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, how cute. Like, you are just coming up with a reason so you can cope with things in your own like Western brain. How naive. It's adorable. Honestly. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so again, there's, in terms of the comments that Dee found, I'm finding conflicting information about what this guy's religious background is. Dee had a comment in the live chat earlier that I can't find, basically saying that they were raised Christian, but then converted to Islam early. It's really not clear. I was reading about how this guy's life was like kind of falling apart. Like, he's had lots of kind of custody battles and divorce issues in and out of court, and was in really bad debt, falling behind on debt, falling behind on child support. Like, his business wasn't doing well. And I'm kind of curious about the extent to which his personal life falling apart kind of made him have like a, like everything's lost anyway kind of mentality. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it had an effect, but I think people are too black and white. Okay, people think that their analysis is like, oh, was this because his life went bad, or was this because of Islam? Why do you think people are like robots? Obviously the answer is both. Because some people on our camp, they try to make it act like it's just Islam and nothing else. Islam doesn't work in a vacuum. Okay, the human mind is not going to be just accepting. Even Muslim minds, even most Muslims' minds are not completely taken over by Islam. That's why we have so many good Muslim people. Because Islam is a virus, but it cannot completely destroy your humanity. Okay, your humanity is ancient. The things that makes your brain act, sane and kindly towards other people, it's much more ancient than Islam is. So Islam is not going to be completely be able to eat all of that, even in the minds of most Muslims, right? So it takes
Well,
Islam, it requires Islam, but Islam is not enough. For you to be an ISIS, you need Islam. Okay, so people who want to remove Islam as a factor, they're idiots. Obviously, it's because of Islam, but you need other ingredients as well. You need poverty, you need isolation, maybe you need hardship, you need failure, you need other elements. It's
you
not
need
you
you
don't
need
it,
psychological vulnerability. And Cat
yeah,
Lady in the live chat was saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter what his life was like." It actually does, especially if you look at how the process of brainwashing and indoctrination and radicalization literally happens. Your
right.
psychological vulnerability is a very, very important factor. And we
The
need to
reason why
know that so that we can prevent it.
Yeah. So, Cat Lady, the reason why that's important is because this is not a defense of Islam, okay? It is because of Islam that this person is doing something like this, right? But most Muslims do not fully submit to Islam because they have lives, because they have other things that they care about. The reason why we have to understand this is because a mind that fully submits to Islam is a mind that has probably lost everything else. So it's not them being a Muslim is a required element, but it's not enough. It's not enough. It needs other, and we need to understand those other factors as well. So just be careful not to be just in the same way that the people who want to deny the role of Islam, we should be careful to not overcorrect to the completely other side to act like it's Islam and absolutely nothing else. Islam needs the help of other factors to be able to have this effect, right? So this person is also thinking in black and white. He thinking that it because it was money issues. So this person had money issues, he had other things. That means it wasn't Islam. No, it's both. It's both working together, right? And also the idea that the ISIS flag was planted there, these conspiracy theories is so insane. They treat the FBI or intelligence operations or the police in the United States as if this is Russia, as if this is the Islamic Republic, as if this is China. Like, I don't know, where is this person American? Because if you're American, you're so ungrateful. You have a country that actually has a proper police. No, he's not American. Okay, thank you, please. But no, this is actually a country that works properly. They don't plant flags to make it in a crime scene to make it seem, well, they don't most of the time, right?
A
And
literal false flag? You're telling me it's a
yeah,
literal false flag?
right. Let's yes, yeah. Yeah. You're welcome, Les. Yeah, you have to appreciate your country. You're better. You're a more advanced country, and most of the time, not always, you act better than most other countries, right? And also, the reason why some people think that the ISIS flag was planted there is because there are two pictures. One where the ISIS flag is there, and another picture of the car where the ISIS flag is not there. And people are like, why is it there and not there? They must have added it later. But now more pictures came out is because some police officers, they took the flag, they put it on the ground, they stretched it, and they were taking pictures of it. The reason why there's two pictures, one with it and one without it, is because they at some point removed it to take better pictures of it. That's the actual reason. It's not your stupid conspiracy theories. Is anything else here?
This person has a criticism of the New Orleans police, saying New Orleans was alerted 5 years ago about the vulnerability of Bourbon Street to a vehicular ramming, and Louisiana had over 3 years to prepare with emergency management and city planners to get ready for the Super Bowl. And basically, they were saying like criticizing the city. Like, they should have been prepared. New Year's Eve should have been a dry run event to make sure the city was prepared. Pure negligence by elected officials.
Yeah, that might be fair.
Look, especially with what's happening in Los Angeles, I think there's a lot of criticism to go around for city government preparedness.
So, okay, to be honest, I don't want to excuse the lack of preparedness. This is really difficult for the police of a city. This is imagine being a terrorist and the wide areas of crowded people that you have to choose from. And then imagine being police and trying to figure out every single corner where a car could run into people and trying to block every single one of it. I mean, I'm not gonna say the police shouldn't have done better. The criticism should be there, but it's a very difficult task. It's a very difficult task that the police should be able to meet. Again, it's New York, okay? But again, I'm not. Again, it sounds like I'm making excuses for it. I just want to make sure that as we should criticize the police. We should find the faults. We should figure out how the police could do better. At the same time, we also should understand that when it comes to security, criticize, but also appreciate how much your country is better than many other governments when it comes to providing security for their people, right? The fact that this is headline news shows that your country cares about lives more than other countries. These numbers do not even reach headline news as these numbers of people dying by terrorist attacks. In other countries, these numbers are astronomically higher.
Dude, yeah, just look at Pakistan. Look at Afghanistan.
Right. So criticize and appreciate at the same time. One does not negate the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do the super chats?
Yes, Asian American gave a super chat saying, "I heard the Las Vegas attack by Matthew Livisberger both came from the same army base. I think they were both at Fort Bragg. I'm not sure. What is it called now? Fort Liberty, North Carolina. When do you think the West will start using CPC tactics?" Okay, to be honest, I just got back from traveling, so I'm very out of the loop. I basically know nothing about the Las Vegas attack, to be completely honest. So I have no commentary
based on
that,
what I understand. So let me just tell you, Susie, let me know what you think. Because based on what I've heard, again, let me know if I'm incorrect, guys, in the chat. That's the only thing that links them. They haven't found any other link between them. The only thing that they found that links them is that they both came from the same base. And it's suspicious, but it's not enough to link them.
Yeah, and also, like, the amount of people that go through Fort Bragg is insane. It's such a major base. Yeah. I don't know, but when you say when do you think the West will start using CPC tactics? I mean, can you be more specific about which tactics? There's a lot of different tactics. Yeah. But the answer is no, I don't think that. Dan Davis saying Islam is a religion of peace. Peace is of you everywhere. Yep, that's how a lot of people feel. Les is saying, I think you highlighted this. Did you want to comment on this? Saying, honestly, when I was younger, I definitely fell victim to the racism of low expectations. Not anymore.
I just wanted to appreciate Les and her growth. So.
Yes. Dan gave another super chat saying Islamic supremacy is way more evil than white supremacy because it is theological, whereas white supremacy was a result of European conquest.
I mean, I don't know if it's more. I don't know how to measure evilness. I could measure harmfulness. I don't know evilness because evil is just it's not measurable. Okay, but I could say it depends on what you mean by evil. But I do think that Islamic supremacy has more victims over the long period. White supremacy had more victims per year for the short period that it was. I mean, technically, Nazis were not even white supremacists; they were Aryan supremacists because they
Yeah,
killed
it
more
depends
white
on how you
people than.
define it.
Depends on how you define it. Yeah. So, yeah, I would agree. I would agree that Islamic supremacy has had a much higher number of victims given the period. Given that, given okay, so here's how Islamic supremacy is more dangerous. Islamic supremacy has enough sugarcoating around the pose and peel to be able to pass as something good. It has a more powerful marketing power. It sells more, and because it sells more, it lasts more. White supremacy is so obviously evil that it just doesn't last as long because it doesn't have the sugar coating, it doesn't have the positive messaging for it to be able to sell its evil as something good, so less people will be convinced by it. Islam is a type of evil that has more. The marketing department of Islamic supremacy is just superior to white supremacy. So that's
Well, I mean, the most powerful thing about it is it's universalizing.
yes,
It's a more
that's
effective
another thing.
meme. White supremacy is inherently not universalizing. Kind of
Exactly.
definition.
True.
So it's going to be less powerful because it's tied to an ethnicity. Dajjal Chan just became a new member on YouTube. Thank you so much for supporting the show.
The user profile pic matches the username. That was cute.
I know, it's so cute. Dan gave another super chat saying, why do minorities in the Muslim world, like Hindus, Christians in Pakistan, Copts in Egypt, Baha'is in Iran, not resort to terrorism since they are brutally executed, but somehow Islamic terrorism is justified? Because their religions don't promote that kind of activity, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you said if you have
Christianity,
Islam,
if you do a suicide attack, you go to hell because you killed yourself. Like,
so on average, okay, not always, but if you get Islam without desperation, you don't get as many terrorist attacks. If you get desperation without Islam, you don't get as many terrorist attacks. If you combine desperation and Islam, then that's the perfect environment for radicalization, right? But it's interesting because it's not desperation. Like we are poorer country than Islamic countries. So, for example, you could see many places where people are poor and desperate, but they are not Muslim. So you could see that the Islam factor is a huge factor. It's not just because of economic desperation, because if it's because of economic desperation, why don't we see that in poorer country where they're not Muslim? So the Islamic factor is a huge factor. But you also don't see that high level of radicalization when people are Muslim, but you don't have desperation, lack of hope, poverty, stuff like that. These are the combination of them produce. It's not the only way of producing radicalization, but it is one of the most powerful combinations. Islam plus desperation. Yeah. Wait, Jason is saying Islam demands Arabization. No, Islam sees Arabization as a threat to itself. I don't know what you guys are saying. These are two different things. So Susie went for a washroom break. I'm going to highlight this. I don't know if I should read. This is a swear word in Persian. Nigel is saying Basiji Kostananat. Why are we getting? Thank you for the super chat, Nigel. I had to check. Are we on the Persian channel? We're getting. So this is an insult to Basijis, which is Iranian religious radicals harassing people in the streets. Basically, Basiji is religious morality police in Iran. Yeah, so he's basically swearing at those people. And let me see. Oh, Nina, thank you so much, Nina, for gifting 5 Atheist Republic memberships. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Guys, if you are a new member, I did a members only live stream. So which I really enjoy doing. So go check it out. I'm gonna do more members on. I just did a recent one regarding some updates in Iran. So go check that out. Oh, Susie's back. Yay. I didn't know what to do without Susie here. So that's good. So go.
I'm
You
sorry,
go ahead with the rest of
I had to go make extra. I had to go make more coffee.
coffee. Okay. All right,
Um,
we do the rest of the super chats. Yeah.
Les give a super chat saying Dan is the sugar daddy for the channel. Giggles. Armin and Susanna, my dad is so scared for you. He is afraid you're speaking out is putting you in danger. He wants me to tell you to keep yourself safe. Okay, first of all, that's adorable that your dad,
Aw.
Les's dad. Hi.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Les's dad. Thank you for
Thank
watching.
you for your concern. That is very sweet. That is very appreciated. We're fine. We're perfectly fine. We have been through a lot worse and we're fine.
I was gonna say something, but it's gonna make Susie upset, so I'm not gonna say it.
Now you made me curious, but I think you're right.
If something happens to me, cut some my bed something like make a video of the most funniest things I've said and put this
oh
on the
my
channel
god.
to celebrate my memory, something like that. Some like a 5-minute video of me and Susie laughing with each other, having our best moments together.
Not
Put
a
them next to each other.
oh man.
Don't put a sad music. Put a fun music behind it and play that.
That's depressing.
Oh.
But anyways, Les's dad, thank you very much. We're
Thank
fine.
you so much.
We're okay.
Yeah.
Dan gave a super chat saying, we have seen Khalistani Sikhs in India, even Tamil Hindus or Christians in Sri Lanka resort to terrorism similar to jihadists, but they died out. No, this is true. We're not saying that it never happens, but if we're being completely honest, it does not happen at the rate, frequency, or overrepresentation of those that follow Islam. I mean, let's be fucking honest here. I'm not saying it's impossible. Yeah, but is it as probable? No, it's not even close to being as probable.
No. Not even close. A lot of American leftists would say, actually, if you look at the stats, most terrorist activities in United States, they don't say in United States, they say most terrorism is done by far right white supremacists and they don't clarify, like, okay, in United States, in America, okay, they're like, it's funny because they're leftists and they accuse other people of being American centric, but when they give you that stat, they're being American centric as if the rest of the world doesn't exist. The most terrorist attacks globally is Islamic by a huge margin. Only
the data is all publicly available.
Yes, only if you zoom in on a specific country somewhere, you might get like, okay, here in this geographical region, the terrorist attack is mostly by someone else, which is, oh, wow, really? In a country that is majority white, most terrorist attacks happens by somebody that is the part of the majority? Like, okay. I mean, even in the United States, if you adjust based on population, based on the percentage of the population, then you can see that the Muslim community is still overly represented based on the percentage. But it's like going to a country that is 90. Hey, most of the terrorist attacks in Japan is not Islamic, Susie. Did you know that? A country that is 99% Japanese. Wow, they don't have like, give me that stat to show me that most terrorist attacks are not Islamic. Yeah, globally it's Islamic by a huge margin.
So let's go to the next story. Okay, let me get my notes. Okay.
Whoa. Oh, do I have it ready?
I have to pull up this other thing.
Oh, this one. I have it. Is it clappable? Can I clap?
Yeah. We're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Fuck. All right. Well, next news.
Next news. Teen terrorist British convert stabs 10 prison guards in Jihad Rampage. A 17-year-old British convert to Islam, who is unnamed but for privacy reasons for a minor, jailed for plotting a terrorist attack at the Isle of Wight Music Festival, has since launched a brutal stabbing spree behind bars, attacking 10 prison guards. Originally arrested at the age of just 15 for planning to ram a truck into festival goers before switching to a plot to, just slit his teacher's throat, he was caught with a knife and farewell letters urging his family to convert to Islam. Now held at Feltham Young Offender Institution, he continues his reign of terror, at one point slicing off a guard's ear and stabbing another officer simply for not being Muslim. Despite his violent record, reports claim that he enjoys privileges, including a personal TV, game consoles, and canteen treats. Quote, he is babied and mollycoddled, one source alleged, sparking outrage over his treatment. While authorities insist his behavior is taken extremely seriously, his continued attacks and attempts to spread ISIS propaganda within the prison highlight the growing challenges of extremist radicalization within the UK's detention system. So I thought that this was interesting to cover. Dee brought this story to my attention because recently we covered the issue of jihadi radicalization within UK prisons. And if you guys haven't watched that clip, you should definitely find it on our channel. We talk about how people are, there are like jihadi gangs within UK prisons that actually force other prisoners to become Muslim in the prison. They implement Sharia punishments upon each other within the prison. They bully the guards who have to negotiate with prison wing emirs within the prison. And people are actually leaving the jails more radicalized than when they entered. And this is from reports from the government itself identifying this issue. In the clip where we discussed it, I actually read an entire report, independent inquiry, released in 2022. So that's just for some context. So this is a bit crazy to me. So basically, let's give a little bit of a background. So there was this 15-year-old, and when he was a little bit younger, he ended up converting to Islam. And we don't know, I haven't been able to find that much information about this kid's past. But when he was 15, the FBI tipped off the UK authorities that they found messages on Discord of this kid planning a terrorist attack. And the terrorist attack that he was planning was to go rent a truck and ram it through the festival, the Isle of Wight Music Festival. And however, at some point, he realized that this wasn't going to work. So his backup plan was to go attack some of his teachers and slit the throat of his teachers, because he hated some of his teachers because he got radicalized by ISIS material, and he hated his teachers for not being Muslim and insulting his religion. And I went back for when this arrest first happened to read what the media was saying then. And when he was being tried in court, one of his teachers talked about how he started to be concerned at first, like when this kid converted to Islam, it had like a positive effect on him. I don't know in what way, but that's what was said before the court. But then the teacher started to be concerned about him because he saw that on his phone screen, it was a photo of Osama bin Laden. And he's like, oh, this really young kid has Osama bin Laden as a screensaver. That's a little concerning. But the teacher didn't think that much of it because apparently this kid liked to say a lot of edgy stuff to like get attention. So he thought that it was just him kind of doing that kind of thing again. Now, when they arrested this kid, they found him with a backpack and this like kitchen knife, like a paring knife, and notes inside his backpack that were messages to his family. And I want to pull this up because I thought this was like so interesting. Because based on what I was reading, it seems like this kid might have been in like special education. Like he seems, the terms that they use in the UK are a bit different than what they use here in the US. But based on the terminology they were using in the reporting, it seems like he was in like special education, you know, like the short bus kind of situation. And when I saw the letters that he wrote his family, I was like, I think this kid might actually have a cognitive disability or something, because these notes look like they were written by a 7-year-old. But this kid was supposed to be like 15. Like, I don't know. You tell me. Does this look like the handwriting of a 15-year-old? Like,
I don't know.
look
I
at
haven't
this.
seen 15-year-olds write English as of. You tell me.
I remember how it, I mean, look, I remember how advanced I was when I was 15.
So
It
what
was significantly more advanced than this. To be honest.
What is he saying?
So, and like to my family, this looks like an 8-year-old wrote this. Guys, please tell me. Please tell me. But it's not also just the handwriting, because I have shit handwriting. The penmanship looks like you're holding a pen for the first time, but it's also how it's written. It's how it's written. Okay, so let's read this. Mum, please know that anything which happens did not be caused by you and what you limited me from doing. Rather, if anything does happen, then it was filled by my hatred to the kuffar and their viciousness, like it's supposed to Islam and the Muslims. Do not grieve and have hate. No, do not grieve and have hope in the mercy of Allah, and that He will accept me, and is in something without when I make dua, inshallah. No, and something with that one day you will, I hope, I don't know, that you will accept Islam so we can one day meet in a good place, inshallah. Like kisses.
I don't think this guy he sounds like an average Muslim. Like, I don't know why he's not special, like, needs or anything.
This, to me, this reads like special needs. I'm going to be honest.
I think your expectation of average person is too high. To me, because I've seen so many 20-year-old, 30-year-old Muslims talk exactly like that. So I don't know. I think you should just reduce your expectation.
Look, I don't know. Maybe it's because I have my IQ results from when I was 15 and I was expect a lot more. And then here's the message to his grandma. Nan, please understand that this life is a test and you have most of your life without Islam, but never despair, as you can still accept Islam and save yourself from hell, which contains fire, which is more than 60 times hotter than fire in this world. Once you accept Islam, everything which you have done bad in the past is erased and you have started a new chapter in life. So please be something.
Oh my God, this guy sounds completely like the average
a Muslim.
Muslim.
Yeah, so please become a Muslim and save yourself. Love you.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I probably follow more people who think like this than you. This sounds to me like exactly like how the average Muslim who actually cares about Islam online, it sounds exactly like that. Not even 15, maybe like even 30-year-old, 40-year-old. Exactly like this is how they talk. So I don't think this
Okay.
kid was special. Yeah.
Okay. Because to me, this reads like, and look at this handwriting. Like, I'm like, this, I literally think this kid is on the short bus. And if so, that would make more
Well,
sense about
again,
how
that's
he
the
would feel like,
average. I have to be careful how I talk about this. I might get in trouble. I'm not trying to be ableist, okay? But again, that's how the average Muslim online speaks about Islam. Okay. So
no, I mean, I
I have to
understand
be
the
careful.
rhetoric, but
Uh,
the way that it's expressed in the handwriting is like getting me. It's really getting me. So here's another note that he found, or that they found on him. Did you think that you could commit major sins such as eating pork? We see we see your aggression. Again, this is, again, stay away from the Muslims unless you want your throat sliced.
Honestly, he sounds more intelligent than most Muslims I've talked to online. He does. He does. Again, I'm not trying to be insulting or ableist. I'm just telling you facts. You have you guys, we are in a when we talk to each other in here, this is a bubble. You have no idea what the average online looks like. Anyway.
I mean, I guess you're right. Maybe I need to adjust my expectations. And I already thought my expectations were like pretty damn low. But so anyways, so these are some of the original materials found on this kid. So now he's in prison. Apparently he still has all these privileges where he gets like a personal TV, game consoles. Meanwhile, the guards literally have to get dressed up in like riot gear and like bulletproof vests and shit to approach his cell and feed him, because he has literally sliced off the ear of a guard. And will, in one of the first things he did when he entered prison was attack. He asked a guard, "Are you a Muslim?" And then when they say no, he just straight up attacked him and stabbed him. And this kid has been in prison for like about 2 years now, and he's not getting better. I think he's serving a 7-year sentence.
Wait, can we respond to this? Carl is saying, Armin, don't be smug and condescending, makes you ugly. I really wasn't trying to. I was like, that's why I said I'm not trying to be insulting or ableist. I really was trying to speak to my experience. Okay, I was not even being, my statements were not even normative. I was trying to, that it was completely descriptive of my experience, and I knew how that would come across to a lot of people. So that's why I was trying to clarify that I know how this sounds. I'm not trying to do that. I am trying to just, my experience. A lot of people don't understand that the average people, I mean, maybe it's not even their fault. Most people are busy doing other things. If they don't sound intelligent to you, it's not because I'm looking down upon them. It's because they're busy. You know, when us people here, we're doing things that most people don't even have the time to do. So I'm not looking down upon them. I was just describing my experience. Yeah. Okay. Carl is saying, okay, sorry then. Yeah, no worries. No worries. I know how it comes off, but I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to be this elitist. Oh, we're intellectuals here. The rest of society is, the rest of society has good reason to be below the discussions that we are having here, is because life is busy. You have to find a way to survive rather than be an intellectual about every freaking thing on the internet. Like, what the hell? Like, that doesn't make any sense. All right, so I see the reason why people on average are not, maybe not as sophisticated when it comes to discussion of politics and religion. Anyways,
Sure.
just said, yeah.
I also think people don't realize like the sheer amount of stupidity that we encounter, like doing this publicly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also we're privileged to be able to have the time and the resources to think about these things, to challenge ourselves, and that's a luxury. That's a
Mm-hmm.
luxury. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how about we go through the comments that Dee found?
Oh yes, let's do that. Oh, thank you, somebody. Appreciate that. All right, let
Ute
me go.
is saying Armin is being truthful, and I can confirm from an English perspective that is true. You need to remember Islam is not their only foundation. Okay.
All right, let's do comments. D comments. D. This one.
This person is quoting the article saying all assaults on staff are taken extremely seriously. Clearly not. I mean, if it is true that he still has all these privileges within the youth detainment facility, then I'm inclined to agree with the clearly not. People need to understand, and look, people are going to think that this is a spicy opinion. I don't care anymore. I'm so fucking jaded by what I see within my own city that I personally do not believe the role of prison is for rehabilitation. I think the role of prison is to protect violent, antisocial people from the rest of society. Protect society from those people. Like I don't believe in restorative justice, any of that bullshit. No, I want to keep these fucking dangerous people that make life worse for everyone else out of society. That's it.
And also deterrence.
Yeah.
For other people. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's restorative. It's rehabilitative. Ratata. Okay, sure. This person saying, looks like they need to hire competent guards. How is it possible for an inmate to stab 10 different guards? Seriously, this is gross incompetence, for fuck's sake. Okay, I mean, I get that criticism, but having read that report that I talked about earlier about the jihadi radicalism in UK prisons, they are not given the resources to deal with this effectively. And it's partially because my sorry, anti-Islam is making fun of you. Ratata.
No, it's not like he's joining you.
I don't know why that's my default noise.
I like it.
Anyways, what I was saying, based on the other report that I read, which granted was focusing on adult prisons, they're kind of run in a very individualized way. And they need more systematized support and tracking of these issues to be able to deal with it more effectively. Yeah, I also say
The lights on my microphone went off. I'm trying to figure out how to turn it back on. Yeah, that's what I said. Rat-ta-ta-ta-ta. It's like usually the gun sounds, right? Yeah.
I guess so. Okay, so we got some super chats from Gasian. Gasian is saying, should violent people be MRI scanned? If they participate, they get treats. Okay. I mean, sure, plenty of violent and antisocial people have gotten MRI scanned. The thing with human subjects research is that prison populations are considered a vulnerable population because they are literally a captive audience. So there's been historic abuse of experimentation on imprisoned populations. So doing human subject research on imprisoned populations, at least in the United States, has a lot of difficulties and technicalities. And I know this because I've had to do a lot of training on this in my career. So I mean, and historically, if you are doing a study like this, there would probably be an incentive for participation, and you're able to consent and unconsent at any time. This is all part of the standard IRB process. Gasian gave another super chat saying, it could just be Gen Z / Alpha. I heard, meaning how bad the handwriting is in the writing. I heard their literacy rates declined. You're just not a skibbity sigma Rizzler, Susie. Okay, obviously not. And I'm sorry that I can't just relate to the iPad kids. I swear to God. One of my most important goals that I hope to achieve in my life is to just not raise an iPad kid. I just need to not raise an iPad kid. That's all I need to do. Cajun gave another super chat saying to Armin, be mean, Zaddy. We missed your stochastic spanking.
Oh my God. Jesus.
You're going to make Armin so upset, Cajun, that he's just not going to want to do it.
Yeah. I'm upset.
Yeah, Gajan sent another super chat. Thank you for being so supportive today, Gajan. Saying, Susie, California voted to keep for-profit prisons. Many fought the LA fires for Trump change. I mean, yeah, the whole what's the word I'm looking for? Labor within the U.S. prison system is like a whole big can of worms. It's a giant can of worms. And there's a lot of exploitation and a lot of stuff that's really bad. To be honest, since I left California, I've not paid attention to that at all. I'm going to be honest. And you highlighted this, Gary saying boo.
No, YouTube won't let me post gifts in chat. Yeah, super gifts are for once the video is over. During the stream is called super chats. Gifts is something else. Gift is after and we don't have gifts, we have donations. But I just want to appreciate Gary for trying to support us. That's all. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, this isn't Twitch. Although we are streaming on Twitch right now, actually.
Oh yeah. That's a backup for us. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Next news.
Death fatwas and assassinations. Iran targets dissident musician in Europe. Okay, this is one of the stories I'm very excited to talk about today. So, Iran's regime has once again extended its reach into Europe. I mean, that's nothing new. That's an everyday occurrence. Plotting to assassinate exiled Iranian dissident and musician Shahin Najafi in Germany, but the operation was thwarted at the last moment. So this is breaking information about this assassination attempt that happened. This was revealed for the first time very recently. According to Iran International, the IRGC's Quds Force created an assassination squad known as the German Network to eliminate Iranian dissidents and Jewish citizens across Europe. Najafi, a vocal critic of the Islamic Republic, was set to be assassinated on September 17th, 2023, during a concert in Hanover, coinciding with the 1-year anniversary of the Women Life Freedom protests. So basically, the assassination attempt was set to happen one day after the 1-year anniversary of Mahsa Amini's death. The assassin had approached the venue, but was ordered to abort after security measures intensified, fearing the entire network would be exposed. The hit was reportedly orchestrated by Iranian-German gangster Rahim Yektaparast, known a known IRGC operative who was later himself assassinated in Tehran, probably by Mossad. So just to be clear, the assassin that was part of organizing this assassination, this failed assassination, ended up getting assassinated by Mossad in Tehran. Most likely. Najafi, who has survived multiple death fatwas and other assassination attempts, all because of his song A Nagi, described the concert as unusually tense, stating, quote, "The atmosphere that night was different. The police presence was overwhelming." While the German federal police declined to comment, Najafi remains a high-profile target, illustrating the regime's relentless pursuit of its critics beyond Iran's borders. So this is like a very important story, because for people that are not familiar with opposition figures in the Iranian diaspora, or like contemporary pop culture, you might not know who Shahin Najafi is. So Shahin Najafi is a musician. His music is very unique. It's gone through many different phases over the years. He's kind of like rock, kind of punk, sometimes kind of rappy, very different. He's very expansive. Like, I'm familiar with his work, and I always feel like he's kind of like an artist's artist. Like, when you watch his work, especially over the years, you understand how he's very, very visionary, very subversive of norms, not only religious norms, but general norms in Iranian society. He has gone through many different political evolutions. He used to be more of a communist. Now he's like a full-blown monarchist. And
He's anti-communist, aggressively anti-communist now.
Yeah. He's a very visionary creator. And so I would really encourage people to go look up the work of Shahin Najafi. And a lot of his work is really deeply challenging taboos within Iranian society. So some of it is parodying a lot of Islamic stuff. He has one song where the cover for the song is like a mosque, except the dome of the mosque is a boob. He has music videos where he's making fun of the ways that mullahs pray. He has music videos that are very sexually subversive for norms within Persian society. And overall, just a very, very interesting man. And I find him to be a real artist. So the controversy really started back in, I think it was 2012, when he released a song, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce it right, but like called A Nagi. Nagi? I can't do the gay sound. And
can
basically,
I play without audio? Can I play one of his music videos as you're speaking, so people can see?
I'm worried about the video being flagged for copyright, because that's happened before.
I have done a video review on him. He didn't
sure.
copyright it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So Armin is showing one of his most recent, most famous music videos that came out a few years ago. But so anyways, back in 2012, he released this song called A Nari, and then it ended up with him having a $100,000 bounty on his head, encouraging assassination attempts on him. Some other extremists raised the bounty on his head to $500,000. There was a fatwa issued against him because they interpreted this song to be making fun of a holy imam, the 10th Shia imam. And so he ended up fleeing the country. He fled to Germany. And there have been, he's an ex-Muslim. He's an open atheist. He's very, very, very famous for being an Iranian atheist, actually. There have been people calling for his execution for apostasy. So he's had many fatwas out against him for many, many years. He's been forced to live under heavy security in Germany. And this is going back like over a decade, right? There's been other assassination attempts on him. He's claimed multiple times that he's survived assassination attempts. And so he has to travel and live under a lot of heavy security. And so this most recent assassination attempt is notable for it happening in the midst of current political unrest in Iran, especially considering his political evolution from going from being a commie to now fucking hating commies, being very openly pro-monarchy. even I don't know if I can say some of the stuff he says about commies on YouTube. um, but Armin, so I don't know what do you think about him and his cultural impact?
Yeah, so I just want to mention in Iran, the monarchist movement, which is again not absolute monarchy, it's a parliamentary, constitutional monarchy with a parliament, and it's a democracy, just like in Norway, Sweden. That's what the monarchists want. But it has become a movement that is, in my opinion, more about standing against both Islamism and communism and separatism rather than being purely just about being pro monarchy. It's just basically the safest bet. I'm not a monarchist myself. I'm a republic. In Iran, we have the Republicans and the monarchists. So the Republican in Iran means something different than Republican in the United States, right? In United States, most people associate Republicans with right-leaning people. It's a brand of a party. In Iran, it's the opposite. In Iran, Republicans are unfortunately seen by many people as leftists, and the monarchists are more right-leaning. But as a Republican myself in Iran, which is not a leftist, uh, I see why the safer bet is the monarchist movement, because it's rightfully standing up against all the toxic ideologies, which is the wokes, the Marxists, the separatists, and the Islamists. It basically gets everything correct when it comes to standing up against. It's a safer bet, not because what's it standing for, in my opinion. It's a safer bet because of what is properly standing up against. Unfortunately, among the Republicans, we don't have that unity in standing up against the things that we should be standing up against, right? So even though there are Republicans like me who are liberal, the Republican people who are anti-regime in Iran, unfortunately, they have too many separatists in them. They have too many anti-American, anti-Israelis in them. They have too many, uh, wokes or communists in them, and that's why it's not a serious movement. And that's why it's a safe. The monarchist movement, the monarchists are basically a lot more, and the monarchists have more effectively been able to advertise their pro-Israeli stance, the anti-wokeism stance, the anti-communist stance, the anti-separatist stance. That they have become a serious movement. And I'm not a monarchist as myself, but I can see the writing on the wall. There's either the monarchists or it's the Islamic Republic or it's the MEK that is politically serious. So, and as somebody who's not a monarchist myself, I'm going to be supporting the monarchists because all the other alternatives are freaking insane. So this Shahin Najafi, who is a very very famous Iranian singer, he became famous because of his blasphemy against Islam, and that's why this assassination attempt was seen as justified by the people who were planning it. They're saying that his they say khunish halal, which means his blood is halal. So a lot of people think halal and haram is just for food. Halal means anything that is permissible. When you say someone's blood is halal, it means that it's permissible to shed their blood. And Shahin Najafi's blood was deemed halal because of his blasphemy. So he blasphemed again. He has recently toned down his anti-Islam stance because he's focusing more on his support for Pahlavi, and his anti. He's more focusing on anti-leftist, anti-woke, anti-communist. He's focusing. It's interesting because he was very aggressively a leftist himself, and now he's fully on the other side of all of this, and he's focusing a lot of his activism mostly on that. But you can see what the regime is sensitive about, given who they're going after. Like, this is exactly the narrative that the regime is, is fears the most. These are the people that the regime fear the most. So yeah. So Amir saying he grew up in a sense. Yeah, he evolved. Yeah, I agree with that. So,
No, and it's actually been a very, very, very major and very influential evolution, because not only does he release a lot of music, and his more recent music is extremely heavily referential. Like the music video that Armin was showing in the background is very, very referential to different moments in
yeah.
modern Iranian history. But he actually releases very frequent political commentary on his YouTube channel. He's not only putting out music, he puts out a lot of political commentary, and he's become very influential because of this. And
So can I comment about what you just said? Like, this video has been, every second of this video has been analyzed, because he uses a lot of symbolism, and people have been trying to decipher, what does this mean? Who does this person represent? Why did he say this in this part? Who's that? Who's the picture of that frame is in the wall? Why are these people sad? Why is that person happy? Why is, like, who is this woman representing in politics? There's so many hidden messages in this. What is this little girl? Who does this represent? And there's so many different political powers and different sects or different groups within the Iranian politics that he's trying to represent in this song. That it's been very interesting. After the song came out, there were so many YouTube review videos trying to decipher the hidden meanings. We also did on our own Persian channel. We also had a stream on this. We had so much fun trying to figure out what every second of this video means. But yeah, so just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I wish we could show some of his music. Like, one thing that I really like about him, so for example, this is what I was referring to. I just made a censored version. This is the censored version of the boob art I was talking about. But one thing that's really cool about him is that even though he is considered right wing, I guess, by Iranian standards nowadays, he's super, super pro LGBT. And that's never changed. And so he's actually helped normalize and promote, like, being very firm on LGBT rights within, I guess, more right-wing coded political movements in Iran. I mean, Armin could speak to that more effectively, but that's something I've always loved about him.
Yes. When he came out of being a lefty and he went more towards the other side, he never stopped his support for LGBT in Iran, and so that part of him never changed, which is great.
Yeah. I wish we could show some of his music video in Hidam, which means destroy or destruction, right? In Hidam.
Yes.
Because that was another music video. Actually, do you think I could pull it up? I don't want to get the copyright strike.
No, let's not do it. Maybe we could. Yeah, and also because we're gonna go overtime, as you said.
Yeah, that was just such a cool one, because it also had a lot of symbolism and was really representing, like, the new movement against the Islamic Republic in such an amazing way.
Can you read this comment by Christina?
Christina saying, I have come across your channel and will watch more of videos. What a brave girl. Oh, I think you're talking about the first clip.
The first one, yeah.
Watching from Northern Ireland. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome from the UK.
Thank you. I just wanted us to read that before she goes, because I appreciated that message. We will read them more of the super chats between the news items.
Yeah. But I still want to just briefly talk about the fact that I find it hysterical that the guy that was organizing the network of assassins in Germany had to flee Germany because apparently he was involved in the murder of another gangster. So he had to get the F out of Dodge and flee back to Iran. And then he ended up being assassinated, allegedly, in the heart of Tehran by Mossad. Can we talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, so apparently, guys, the would-be assassin of Shahin Najafi was assassinated himself. He failed at assassinating his target, and then eventually was it by Mossad? I didn't know. This is news to me. I know he was assassinated. I didn't know was it by Mossad.
This is the allegation.
I don't think it's by Mossad. No,
We
no, no.
don't know.
I think in
This is
Iran,
what's being
in
reported.
Iran, okay, Mossad has been so effective at taking out Iranian officials. Now anybody that dies, people are like, is this Mossad?
No, but it's
I
not
think-
just that they're successful at taking out Iranian officials, is that they are very good at doing it inside the heart of Iran's borders. That's
I
why.
just don't know if this guy was a. I just don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think this assassin would be a major target for Israel. You
No,
know.
he was,
So.
because I mean,
Oh.
Iran International, in their exclusive report on this, they actually detailed this entire unit. There was an entire unit operating in Germany called Unit 840. And they did a lot more detailing into the operations and hierarchy of the entire unit, which I have not explained here. But basically, this unit was not only dedicated to going after Iranian dissidents in Germany, it was dedicated to planning attacks and assassinations on just random Jews in Germany. Because let me just emphasize this once again for people who don't understand. The Islamic Republic is so fucking powerless against Israel that the best recourse that they can do is, I'm not exaggerating, like literally the best thing that they can go do to show that they're strong is just go attack random Jews in different countries. That is actually their plan and their strategy. So that was one of the mandates of this Unit 840. And if that's the case, then I do not doubt that Mossad would have a reason to go after them, because they've done that before to other Iranian targets assigned to go after random Jews. They're like the ones in Turkey. Do you remember that? That's one of why they took out some of the ones also inside Tehran.
Right. But first of all, if this is done by Mossad, first of all, thank you, Mossad. Second of all, this is why Iranian people are not delusional, and they're often being accused of by the regime, when they say that the victory of Israel is the victory of the Iranian people. Then when Israel is successful at assassinating regime officials, they're also successful at liberating the Iranian people. Because when Israel kills somebody, they're also killing the oppressor of Iranian people. And here's exhibit A right here. Basically, you're telling me Mossad is killing an assassin who was set to kill an Iranian citizen because of his speech, because of his art. And Mossad takes that assassin out. This is why Iranians are correct to see Israel as their allies, because their interests align with each other.
Yeah. Here's a quick snippet from the original article. Subnetworks, Pakistanis and Poles. The German network extends beyond Iranian operatives. A European and an IRGC source disclosed the existence of a Pakistani network under Buzorg's control. Buzorg is one of the guys who was in charge of Unit 840. 2 years ago, this network planned assassinations of Jewish and American targets in Congo. Buzorg also supported these two other figures who are connected to the Al-Mustafa International University. And I have talked about that university here on the show. This is where they radicalize people and turn them into foreign assets for the Islamic Republic, including many Pakistani Americans that they send to Iran to get radicalized and turn into assets. An IRGC front for exporting Shia Islam and conducting covert operations globally. They recruited operatives, including 3 Pakistanis who received training in Iran and Syria before being deployed to Congo. Additionally, the German network collaborates with a Polish mafia group specializing in bomb-laden drones. 2 Polish members, known as Robert and Michael, visited Iran for operational planning. Their mission to assassinate an Israeli target in Warsaw failed. So this is part of their operational mandate. And for people that don't know, one of the main tactics of the Islamic Republic in terms of their transnational repression operations is to hire criminal gangs around the world. So they'll outsource their operations to criminal gangs, oftentimes Eastern
They
European
can't even do their own assassination. They can't even do their own assassination.
Yeah, and these foreign gangs, oftentimes Eastern European gangs, tend to have, quoting a report I read on this, low levels of professionalism. That still gets me. Part of it is for plausible deniability, and then also part of it is because the operational security in those fields is more difficult for them. So they just try to outsource. Like they I don't know if the people know that the Islamic Republic likes to use the Hells Angels biker gang for drug trafficking and assassination attempts.
Something I never thought I would ever hear in my life.
Yeah. So, anyways,
oh, let's look at the comments. This one.
Oh, so this is
a pro-regime
Iranian in the U.S. IRGC insider. Ha 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 ha. Iran International, owned by Israel and America, desperate trying to trick people into destroying Iran. Well, the joke's on you, asshole. It's owned by the Saudis. But to them, they're like same thing, same
thing, same masters.
Zionists, all Zionists. This person responded, "This is what they do. Islamic Republic is a thug, terrorist, occupying regime in Iran. Blast them out for good. They belong in the trash heap. I can't talk. Trash heap of history." Yeah, I'm not going to really disagree with you here.
Nope.
Well, I mean, the good news is they're looking weaker than ever. So.
Yes. Could be faster though.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some super chats. Do you want to respond to those?
Yes. Bull McLeod gave a super chat.
Sorry.
Oops. Saying, I turned 30 yesterday, so I'm an old man now. Well, happy birthday, Bull.
Happy birthday. Oh, why are you sad though? You're sad. Look at him.
You're not an old man. Oh. It's okay.
It's a happy birthday. Oh.
Meanwhile, everyone that's older 30 is like, hey,
stop it. Stop that. Yeah, you just called everybody above 30 here very old.
Yeah. That's how Armin feels when I complain about getting older. He's like, hey, you're a baby. Shut up.
You do that on purpose. You come here like, oh, I'm
Sometimes
so
I
old.
do it to get under your skin. I do. But happy birthday.
Happy birthday, yes.
Danny is asking a question saying, why doesn't Israel support the monarchists?
Sponsor the monarchists?
Sponsor, excuse me.
I mean, before October, first of all, before October 7th, Israel was not their plan. There wasn't part of the plan to go and help topple the regime. Okay. Because Israel, guys, things are more complicated for Israel than a lot of people understand. Israel doesn't want, if Israel participates in war, it's not because it wants war. It's being dragged into war by its enemies, right? Israel, given that it's a tiny country, that its existence is constantly being threatened, wants stability in the region. As much as people want to act otherwise, they prefer no conflict, no war. They prefer things remain stable. And just understand that toppling of the Islamic Republic is a very risky game, because it's like throwing a dice. You know, people people can talk about toppling the Islamic Republic, but for Israel, I mean, if you make one move wrong, the wave that happens in the Middle East could be the end of you, right? These are very risky bets to make. So supporting the monarchists is a very aggressive push towards a position, changing things in a way that is not as predictable as many people try to make it seem, especially if your entire existence could depend on it. You have to be very careful. However, everything I said is true for before October 7th. Israel wanted to move things slowly, Not to, but after October 7th, they now seem to be more set than ever. Are like, okay, let's go for the head of the octopus, right? So that all of that attitude that I told you has now shifted among the minds of many Israelis after October 7th, and we do see now after October 7th a closer relationship between many Israeli politicians and the monarchists. And this is something that you could see. Reza Pahlavi himself made a trip to Tel Aviv, which was a huge
Historic.
move.
But that
It
was
was
years ago. That was like
historic
2 years ago. Way
2
before
years
October 7th,
ago.
3 years ago almost.
Yes, which was the first time an Iranian politician to that high ever went to Israel for diplomatic relationships. So that was a huge deal. So we are seeing relationships being built between Reza Pahlavi and Israel, and between, I mean, Reza Pahlavi met with Netanyahu. They had a friendly. It basically brought a lot of Israelis to the realization that, okay, this is the main popular guy in among Iranians, and he wants to have a good relationship with Netanyahu. So it was a big deal. It was a big deal. A lot of people realized that the Iranians are very different from the regime just because of that trip. So things are moving in the right direction, but I don't know what you mean by sponsor. Um, Unfortunately, Reza Pahlavi has a huge, um, there's a huge barrier in fundraising. There's in Iranian culture, raising money is unfortunately is looked down upon by a lot of Iranian people. So we have to normalize that before Reza Pahlavi actually manages to come and raise heavy money for lobbying and other activities. We have to
Yeah, like
normalize
asking
that.
for donations is like,
Yes, asking for money, asking for donations is kind of seen as a taboo, which is weird
yeah,
because that's how you win.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Um, okay. Christina also just gave a 10-pound super chat with no comment. Thank you so much, Christina.
The same person that left a comment that I
Yeah.
highlighted was like, she discovered the channel. Thank you, Christina, for the support. Yay. Yes.
Christina, subscribe, stick around, become a member. If you like this, you'll like a lot of what we do here. And Dan gave another super chat. Dan being very generous today. Thank you. Saying, what Muslim nation is the most brainwashed?
Pakistan?
I was gonna say Pakistan.
I mean, I didn't even have to read the whole sentence. That's the first thing. Guys, is there anybody? It's Pakistan, right? Sorry to I apologize to our atheist and secular minded Pakistanis in the live chat. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But it's Pakistan.
I think they're the most likely to agree with you, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Pakistani atheists would agree with me on this. I'm not trying to be insulting or anything. I think they would agree with me. Yeah,
right. And Armin is saying, excuse me, Dan gave another super chat saying, Armin, have you ever met a Parsi? Meaning a Zoroastrian, for people who don't know. Freddie Mercury was an Indian Parsi. A lot of them celebrate ancient Persia. They contributed a lot to India. Most Hindus absolutely love them, want them to have more kids.
Yeah, I constantly, I mean, I'm aware of them. We know about them. Indians constantly mention that to me. I mean, sure, they exist. I haven't met one, and I don't feel connected to them through heritage or anything like that. I mean, they exist. I wish the best for them. I don't know, like, so let me just answer the question. Have you ever met a Parsi? Not that I remember. Freddie Mercury was an Indian Parsi. Yes, I know. A lot of them celebrate ancient Persia. Good for them. They contributed a lot to India. Well, okay, good for them. Most Hindus absolutely love them. Want them to have more kids. Well, it's their choice if they want to have more kids or not. Okay, yeah, I think I responded.
No, but
I just don't know.
Parsis are like the Indian Zoroastrians, but you've met Zoroastrians before, right?
Yeah, I met Zoroastrians. I just never met when they say Parsi, they're talking about
The Indian
Iranians who
ones.
went to India, Zoroastrians that went from Iran to India. Because to me, Parsi means something else, right? But to Indians, Parsi means Iranian Zoroastrians who traveled from Iran to India after the Arab invasion. But in our language, when we say Parsi, we don't mean that. An Indian, when you say Parsi to them, they think Zoroastrian. But when you say Parsi to me, I think of an ethnicity and a language, regardless of your religion. So it means different things in different countries. Yeah. I don't have any. I don't have any. I mean, Zoroastrianism to me is a religion. I'm an atheist. I'm an anti-religion activist. So to me, Zoroastrianism, I don't have any positive feelings towards Zoroastrianism, other than I understand. Okay, so let me be fair. I understand that Zoroastrian symbols are now an effective tool of signaling nationalism. Okay, and I see the utility of that, and I understand it, and I appreciate that aspect of it. But the religion itself, I mean, it's a religion, and I'm an anti-religion activist. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Wikar is saying no, Armin. As a, you're absolutely right saying this as a Pakistani.
Well,
If people think we're wrong, feel free to tell us. But you have to answer the question about who is the most brainwashed. You can't just say no, you're wrong. I need a replacement answer. Okay. Gajan gave a super chat saying, do you think Americans' shift to isolationism and protectionism is going to affect Iran? Apologize for the brain rot. I don't think you're brain rotted, my friend.
no, yeah, and also this is a good question, but the answer is there's nothing. Not just the shift into isolationism. There's nothing America can do that won't affect the entire freaking planet. Everything under the sun would always be impacted by anything the United States does in a major way. All the other countries in the world are just planets that are orbiting the sun that is the United States. So of course it's going to impact Iran. It's going to impact every single country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, like a lot of the cabinet picks that I have seen so far are not going to be the like isolationists that I think people thought they were voting for. Like I don't remember if who like yeah, there could have been shifts in who was, in and who's been taken out and but according to what I have seen, I'm like a lot of people are like, I thought this was going to be the president of peace. Some of these picks seem like hawks, and I'm like, yeah.
I mean, this is okay. So he's going to be an isolationist and isolationist, maybe economic wise, he's going to be isolationist, but foreign policy wise, Trump said, I'm going to be an isolationist, and he's not even president yet. And he says, we're going to take Canada, we're going to take Greenland, we're going to take the Panama Canal, and also the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of United States. So yeah, they're not very isolationist, to be fair. I don't know. But yeah, all of this, everything Trump or anyone else does is going to be affecting the entire planet. So
yeah, exactly.
Iran is
Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State pick, not an isolationist.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, sure,
Guys,
it's not John Bolton, but
yeah, we're going to have a lot of streams on this channel talking about how Trump's policies, the good and the bad. Okay, I'm not going to be one of those people who is going to be on either side of this. I'm not going to be like, oh, attacking Trump on everything he does, and I'm not also going to be supporting everything he does. I'm just going to be as fair as possible I could be, and I'm just going to be descriptive rather than normative, and I'm just going to talk about objectively talking about as we go forward the next 4 years Trump's and United States, the things that they're going to do is going to have major impact on Iranian politics, and we're going to be here for every single one of them. So if you're looking forward to that, just make sure you're subscribed and you hit the bell notification, because I'm predicting many streams on this topic. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope Trump goes full maximum pressure. Please.
Yes, that's something I'm looking
Please.
forward to. That's something I'm looking forward to. YouTube guys, please. I mean, I don't know. Trump is not on YouTube, but yeah, one thing Trump is going to do. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if he's going to actually do it or not. He's going to do maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic, and I'm here for it. What I'm worried about is that he's going to use maximum pressure to eventually do a deal with the Islamic Republic. That would be horrible. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us go to the last news.
We got another. Oh no,
we got another super chat. No,
we did that one. Okay. All right, the best news, best for last.
Yay!
Laughable for sure. Yay.
Yes.
Next news.
Jailed for blasphemy. Nigerian ex-Muslim free, but the threats continue. After more than 4 years in prison for blasphemy, Nigerian ex-Muslim atheist Mubarak Bala is finally free, but his ordeal is far from over. Once the outspoken president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, Bala was arrested in 2020 after posting comments on Facebook that conservative Muslim lawyers in Kano deemed insulting to Islam. His sudden guilty plea of 18 charges of blasphemy stunned supporters, and he was sentenced to 24 years in prison, a term that was later reduced on appeal. Now released, he remains in hiding, fearing for his life in a country where blasphemy laws and religious extremism leave little room for dissent. Quote, freedom is here, but also there is an underlying threat I now have to face, Bala told the BBC. While humanists and activists worldwide celebrate his release, the dangers are far from over. Quote, thanks that he's out, thanks that he's a free man, but no thanks because there is a dent on him as if he committed a crime, said Leo Igwe, founder of the Humanist Association of Nigeria. Yet despite years of imprisonment and ongoing threats, Bala remains unshaken. Quote, I knew the dangers and I still decided to do it, he said, standing firm in his defiance. So this is incredible news because we have been following the case and bringing attention to the case of Mubarak Bala literally since he was imprisoned. This happened very early on into my involvement with Atheist Republic. So this is something I've been following like basically since the beginning, for me. And so we've had a lot of new people like join AR. So I'll give a background on his case. So basically 4 years ago, in the spring of 2020, Bala was arrested after a Facebook post he made. And in this Facebook post, he was comparing a local preacher to the Prophet Muhammad and like basically, I can't remember the exact details, but made some sort of comparison and called them maybe like a terrorist or dangerous or something. And what ended up happening is some lawyers took offense to this and filed a complaint against him that literally in the complaint, this shows how low of an opinion they have of Muslims, by the way. They said that he had to be arrested because his comments would lead to violence against him. So basically like an open victim blaming statement. They're like, he has to be taken to jail and imprisoned because we know that people are going to go try to kill him. So for the sake of public harmony, like we need to put him in jail because we know that people are going to go enact violence and terror upon him. Okay. So, that shows you like what they think. And basically, so he has been, what's the word I'm looking for? Unjustifiably detained in prison for 4 years now. for people who are not familiar with how things work in Nigeria, in the northern states, they operate under Sharia law alongside common law. And Mubarak Bala first became very famous in Nigeria because he was literally sent to a mental asylum because he apostatized from Islam, because he became an atheist, because he didn't want to be a Muslim anymore. They sent him to a mental hospital because I think his father was maybe an imam or something, or a religious man. And it literally took like intervention to get him out of the mental hospital where he was forcibly, involuntarily confined. And then that kind of like started his career in activism and becoming the president of the Humanist Association in Nigeria and being really active in all this stuff. So he was arrested, and then he was actually transferred to the northern states where it's very dangerous for him to be there because, one, there were police officers, active duty police officers, threatening to kill him themselves. He was being maltreated in the prison system. He was not getting medical attention. There were reports that he was being forced to pray, forced to observe religiously. And they also took him to the northern states because then he would be subject to Sharia law, which is obviously very dangerous because not only was he an apostate, but he blasphemed, allegedly. And so the penalty is death. And so for 2 years, he was held without trial and detention, roughly 2 years. I can't remember exactly. Finally, he went through an actual trial. And in the trial, there was a stunning move where all of a sudden he ended up pleading guilty to everything because him and his family were being threatened. And he thought that, according to interviews that I was reading, that if he just pled guilty, then it would help everything just go away. Unfortunately, not the case. So he ended up getting 24 years for this blasphemy. And it was a big, big shock when this came out. Well, thanks to the intervention of Humanist International, his legal team, the intervention of, this went up to the United Nations, the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom got heavily involved. Like, this was a giant, giant, giant undertaking to fight for the freedom of Mubarak Bala. And because of this international cooperation, the scale of which we only know like a little bit about, behind the scenes, he now is free. And this is a huge accomplishment. This is a huge achievement. And this really, really is a cause for celebration, because for people who are not familiar with what we do on Atheist Republic, like, we take it very seriously, raising awareness about atheists that are persecuted for their atheism, or the persecution of alleged blasphemers, or the persecution of ex-Muslims. And so when these cases come forward in the media, I personally find it very important to talk about them as much as possible. And Mubarak Bala was one of those cases. And but even though now he's released from prison, he got a 20-year reduction on his sentence. And let me emphasize once again, he was unjustifiably detained for 4 years of his life on some absolute bullshit that was unconstitutional. He's still in danger, and he's in a safe house because, his face is everywhere. Like, people know who he is. Lynchings do also happen in Nigeria as well. Blasphemy lynchings. We've covered on this channel several blasphemy lynchings that have happened. And so he still has to live under threat. But that being said, this is still a big, big victory and worthy of being celebrated, because now he gets to be with his family, and he gets to be with his child, who was only 6 weeks old when he was first illegally detained. And he spent, 4 years without them. Should we watch this video that the BBC put out?
Yeah. What is this? Can you give us some context? Bala?
Yeah, so this is basically an interview or clips of content from when he literally first got released
Okay.
by the BBC.
After 4 years in prison on blasphemy charges, Mubarak Bala, a prominent Nigerian atheist and religious critic, has been released.
What's going through your mind right now?
Everything is new to me.
Mubarak is well known for his criticism of Islam and religion in general, which he frequently shared on social media. A controversial Facebook post in 2020 outraged many and led to his arrest after a group of lawyers filed a complaint with the police. After 2 years in prison awaiting trial, Mubarak was convicted of insulting religion with the intent of breaching the peace, an offence under Section 210 of the Kano State Penal Code. He was sentenced to 24 years in prison after pleading guilty to 18 counts against him. Mubarak's legal team say they believe he's still in danger, so he's being housed in a secure location, where he has his first meal as a free man.
Will you join me? I've missed all these things.
Mubarak's release comes months after his sentence was reduced, after an appellate judge ruled his original sentence was excessive. So there's a lot of secrecy around your release, and a lot of precautions have been taken by your team because there are concerns that there might still be people out there trying to harm you. Are you concerned about your safety?
The freedom is here, but also there is an underlying threat that I will now have to face. Probably all those years, those threats are only maybe they're out there while I'm here under some security system. The concern about my safety is always there.
I was in court when you pled guilty and many people were shocked. Why did you decide to do that?
I believe that what I did then was saving not only my life, but people in the state, and especially those that were attached to my case, because they're also a target. Of all the calculations I ever had being an atheist, I always felt that the Constitution of the federal government protects atheists and protects me.
I know you were in 2 prisons. So initially you were held in prison in Kano before being transferred to Abuja. What was life like in those 2 places?
In the beginning, I was not allowed any contact whatsoever. No phone call, no visitations, nothing. When I was in Kano, I never thought I may get out alive. In Kano, it was about living or dying. But then I'm in Abuja, and now it's about just the freedom that I could smell, but I can't really get hold of it.
Do you have any regrets?
Well, my activism, my posting on social media, I always knew the worst would happen. And I always mentioned to people that when I took the decision to come out, I knew I could be killed. I knew the dangers, and I still decided to do it.
And what's next for you?
I have a lot to do. I have a lot of catching up to do, family-wise. I have a lot I hope to achieve.
Mubarak's arrest and detention sent shockwaves across the world and sparked a fierce debate about freedom of speech. For atheists and humanists in Nigeria, his release has been a relief.
Generally, for me, it's thanks and no thanks. Thanks that he is out, thanks that he's a free man, but no thanks because there is still that dent on him as if he committed a crime.
But there are still concerns. Nigeria is one of the most religious countries in the world. Blasphemy is an offence under Islamic law, which operates in 12 states in the north of the country. It's also an offence under Nigeria's criminal law.
Do I think Nigeria is safe for atheists and humanists right now? The answer is no. As long as there are places in this country where somebody can openly say this in name of preaching or in name of sermon, I don't think that this country, can be said to be a safe place for atheists, humanists, skeptics, and free thinkers.
As for Mubarak, he's keen to make up for lost time. His son was just 6 weeks old when he was imprisoned.
How does it feel to see him, Mubarak?
It's a relief. He's a bit shy, forgot me and a bit, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people don't know how difficult is it to be an atheist in many places in the world. We need to we need to have more awareness about that. In the same way that we have awareness regarding the level of Jew hatred that exists around the world, we need to also raise more awareness regarding how much the level of disgust and hatred that exists against atheists. We need way more awareness on that. I really appreciate that he actually uses the term atheist, not just humanist, because humanist is the taboo is around atheism, and he is not afraid of using that term when it comes to normalizing it, to making it, he's paying the highest price for it, and he's not. Yeah, I appreciate. Thank him. We should be thanking people. Yeah, Amir said thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. This is really personal for a lot of people in our community. Like Dee was saying, I chatted with Mubarak on Messenger before his arrest. He was trying to help people get out of other countries for apostasy too. Like he's been so involved with helping the community for so long and being very selfless. And he had to pay a very, very heavy price for it. I will keep my eye out on if there are ways that our community can support him, because I know that right now he is in a safe house. But definitely the future has a lot in store for him. And I think it's really important for our community to come together and support people in this situation, because other religious people have very, large systems and institutions that help persecuted members of their religious community. And as atheists, we barely have anything. The organizations that work on helping persecuted atheists are working on a shoestring budget. So I'm going to continue to keep my eye on this.
Look at this comment. Bro, just looking for a chance to get to the West. That guy was a Muslim. He left Islam. He became an ex-Muslim in a very aggressively, not just Islamic. We have Boko Haram. We have the most aggressive Islamic terrorist groups right in Nigeria, all of them active. He became an ex-Muslim there.
And stayed there.
Yeah, and stayed there. Became an ex-Muslim and stayed there. Oh, he pays all of this price. This is obviously a person who just cares about bettering society, and has shown he has the unbelievable man. Like look at the level of ungratefulness here. Somebody that is the people who are paying the highest price for moving society forward. And instead of thanking them, look at the accusations.
I remember when he was first arrested, the level of hatred and vitriol that was pouring out against him on social media. Like, I'll never forget the level of violence that they were like completely justifying against him. Vitriol, the hatred. Yeah, so this is Humanist UK also celebrating his release. Yeah.
All right, let's do thank you guys for all your kind messages in the chat. Yeah, and also Mohsen, I completely agree with you. Okay, let's do the super chats before. Oh, we have only 2 minutes. Let's do the super chats really fast.
Yes. I also just wanted to say that if you're interested in learning more about Mubarak's case, we actually did an interview with one of the people most responsible for his freedom, Leo Igwe. We did an interview with Leo Igwe when he was first imprisoned. So go and check that out if you're interested. Okay. Super chat.
Read it very fast. Yes,
we got a super chat from Gaijin. Thank you, my friend. Saying, rejoice, for Canada's cucked commie Commonwealth will at last be liberated as our 51st state.
Okay.
You will now know the freedom of co-pays.
All right, now hold it. Hey, last time you guys tried that, we burned down the White House. Remember, the only
That's
people
true.
the last time you tried that, We came all the way to the White House, so be careful what you wish for, okay? All right.
Looks like somebody
All
needs
right.
a reminder.
Yeah, okay. All right, guys. Bye. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe, hit the bell notification, support us if you're financially secure. If it's safe, please recommend this channel and all of those other things. Bye-bye. Mwah.